Here we go with this bullshit. Yeah, what's going on?
Hey, baby daddy.
Yeah, what's up?
So, I was thinking, I want our baby to, be advanced in life or whatever. So right now they're doing karate class at the YMCA and it's $300. So I was thinking I go half, you go half, and then our baby gonna be, Cobra Kai up in this bitch.
Child support.
I'm sorry, what?
Child support.
Okay, yeah, you pay a little less child support, but that goes for clothes, shoes, stuff to support the child. It's an extracurricular activity, so it's extra.
Child support.
You said it's saying child support. Like, do you only know them two words? Child support, support child. That, like, what I'm asking you is for something extra to benefit the kid. You don't have to put the money in my pocket. You can call up there and make a payment, like, directly.
Yeah, but I remember the two words that I asked for, 50-50. And when we try to get that established, you didn't want that. You wanted sole custody, and the judge granted that. So when it comes to child support, he said that as long as I pay my child support, I ain't obligated to do nothing else. So, child support.
I cannot fucking believe this. Okay, so basically because that's all you have to pay for, that's all you gonna pay for. So if the judge says you only have to pay $20 a month, that's all you would pay. You wouldn't pay 25 or 30.
Here's my suggestion to you. Walmart is always hiring. Fuck out of here. Fuck child support.
Baby mama terrorist. DMT. It's my baby mama. I'm on child support. Can't see my kids, so I stay in coke. It's my baby mama. She be riding Lexus, finding sugar daddies, and doing setups. It's my baby mama. I'm on child support. Can't see my kids, so I stay in coke. It's my baby mama. She be riding Lexus, finding sugar daddies, and doing setups. It's my baby mama. I'm on child support. Can't see my kids, so I stay in coke. It's my baby mama. She be riding Lexus, finding sugar daddies, and doing setups. It's my baby mama. I'm on child support. Can't see my kids, so I stay in coke. It's my baby mama. She be riding Lexus, finding sugar daddies, and doing setups. Riding around trying to play the Romans, innocent with an evil soul. In public wearing fake hellos, behind closed doors she rock them horns. I moved on, she wanna teach me a lesson. Can't see my kids, man, I'm stressing. Couldn't see my son to give me his present. She got married to teach me a lesson. Telling people she did nothing wrong, knowing that well since I moved on. Thought that money would keep me home. Hell no, bitch, I'm gone. I don't know what you lost your mind. Try to say my name, but I know your kind. Saying I'm a deadbeat, bitch, you lying. Fighting that court, man, I'm trying to be a father to my kids. She focus on the wrong shit, worried about another being instead of us co-parenting. Put my kids in grown folks' business, telling them lies, bitch, you wicked. Split personality, oh yeah, you twisted. Never thought I'd go through this. It's my baby mama, I'm on child support. Can't see my kids, so I stay in coke. It's my baby mama, she be riding Lexus, finding sugar daddies, and doing setups. It's my baby mama, I'm on child support. Can't see my kids, so I stay in coke. It's my baby mama. She be riding Lexus, finding sugar daddies, and doing setups. It's my baby mama. I'm on child support. Can't see my kids, so I stay in coke. It's my baby mama. She be riding Lexus, finding sugar daddies, and doing setups. It's my baby mama. I'm on child support. Can't see my kids, so I stay in coke. It's my baby mama. She be riding Lexus, finding sugar daddies, and doing setups.
fucked up, man. Baby mama tell you tomorrow she needs some money. Man, you better go to Walmart.
Walmart is always hiring. 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 Wonder holler broke, bitch, you get some child support. Section 8 Obamacare, your ass better sell some dope. I ain't here to save your hope, I'm telling you in the dope. Better save your link card or a twerking liquor store. Better shake it for Habib, better shake it for Mr. Chan. Better shake it for Tyrone, bitch, I don't give a damn. Matter of fact, only fans go find your ass a stand. Who was shopping surplus? Bitch, I'm not your fucking man. It's not my fault you got 5 baby daddies with 4 fucking kids and no else to fucking live. Not my problem, better get your ass a job. Go to sleep in trailer parks, better go to fucking Walmart. Walmart is always hiring. 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 Walmart is always hiring.
Off the liquor, bet I hit it. Yeah, I'm sipping on some Henny. Going in, aisle 6. Ayy, let me get some Remy. I'ma have my dick in there before it even hit me. If you think I'm about to drop a dime, ho, you know you tripping, folks. Me the pussy free. For your man, you charge a fee. I'ma get up in the guts and you gon' try to have my seeds. And I'ma be a deadbeat. I ain't tell you had that kid. You know I was about to nut, but you kept on riding dick. When it comes to being freaky, bitch, you an all-star, but you always broke. Better holler at Walmart, so you better take direction. Or bitch, take this lesson. Now get up on your knees. I don't wanna hear no questions. Walmart
Walmart is always hiring. 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 Walmart is always hiring.
Welcome, thought. I thought your degrees were your ticket out. Welcome, thought. You're back with the guys you used to laugh about. Running around, busting down, get community. With 6 baby daddies, 5 kids and we. Who would thought it'd be another Cooper Keisha? So believe it or not, you would die from the block. Use a thought. 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 I thought your degrees were your ticket out. Use a thought. You're back with the guys you used to laugh about. Playing a role, you're not a hoe, say you're not a thigh. You need to see reality, you was a BMT. Who would thought it'd be another Cooper's Keisha? So believe it or not, you a thought from the block. Use a thought. Use a thought. Use a thought. Use a thought. Use a thought, use a thought, so believe it or not, use a thought, use a thought, use a believe it or not, use a thought, use a thought, use a believe it or not, use a thought, use a thought, so believe it or not, you a thought from the block, use a thought. Damn, get the fuck out of here. Shit. I've been walking, broke, walking in the rain. I'm shopping at circus every day and night. The evening masqueraded like a lane. Calling me motherfuckers, always trying to fight. I'm watching her, baby. I just met her ass on eBay. I've been walking in the rain. She done put me out and I feel like a sipping flame. I've been walking in the rain. She done put me out and I feel like a sipping flame. Now here we go with this bullshit. Oh baby, baby, you trying to see gold. Get the fuck out, turn me into a second form. Walking in the rain. She done put me out and I feel like a sipping flame. I've been walking in the rain. She done put me out and I feel like a sipping flame. Man, this is motherfucking bullshit, man. I met this bitch on eBay and shit. She knew I ain't had nothing going on. She knew I just got put out by my baby mama Terrence. And she said she gonna look out for me. She got her degrees and shit. And I come over there, she got me take care of motherfucking kids. Because what the hell they call up a picture. Got me fighting this shit. Getting put out the house still. Treating me like shit. All because I ain't got shit. Y'all fellas better learn from this. Don't be no simple who wants to fight me. Bro, you be shopping at suckers. Get something like a club. Now I'm out here around. Set ass like. I've been walking. Stop the cat bragging about you having a man, but you know you're lonely. Stop
is real, but you know it's not. When someone mop that you got from the good old pawn shop. Run around saying, baby daddy, that but you know it's not. Stop the cap. You don't do tulip off the government, that's what you do. You fucked up with a good man, you rather be ran through. You know you made a big mistake, leaving him for Section 8. Even though you're living on government daddy, making them your children new happy. Claiming you're so strong and independent, you was just like the baby mama terrorist women. Fuck out of here. Even though you're living on government daddy, making them your children new happy. Claiming you're so strong and independent, you was just like the baby mama terrorist women. Fuck out of here. One more time, come on. Even though you're living on government daddy, making them your children new happy. Claiming you're so strong and independent, you was just like the baby mama terrorist women. Fuck out of here.
Shout out to the Cows gang. Shout out to the Cows gang. What's good, everybody? I want to make sure y'all can hear me real clear. Let me know if y'all can hear me. Just want to make sure. Apologize, I'm being a little late, man, but I had to check on in. And then the internet was having problems, I guess. So I had to put it on my hotspot. So let me know if y'all can hear me on a different couch. Y'all already know. Let me switch chairs. This chair ain't gonna work. We finna definitely do a reaction to this shit right here. We're gonna do a reaction to this shit right here. We gotta talk about this one. We gotta talk about this one. Everybody's over here, please hit the like button. If you're new up in here, subscribe to the channel. We definitely gotta talk about this right here. And I ain't gonna hold y'all no longer. You may be seated up in this motherfucker. Let me see something right quick. See if I need a light here. That's kind of too bright. Nah, that's cool. I'll leave it just like that. Now, I don't know if everybody saw the Larry Elder interview on the Breakfast Club, where he talked about running for president. Now, this brother, in my opinion, is for the Black community. He's saying things that a lot of us been saying. When it comes to the Black community, a lot of shit that goes on is because of lack of fathers, fatherlessness, single motherism. And been saying this for a long time. We see it all the time. And of course, he's on the Breakfast Club. And I think he did a good job. And the reason why my title don't say Larry Elder destroyed the Breakfast Club, because what really caught my attention is this baby mama terrorists that tend to do what they do best. And that's run off emotions. Definitely run off personal feelings about a person. You know, they're reactors and not thinkers. This is why the community is what it is today. That is one of the reasons on why the community is what it is today. You can't have a regular discussion with these low-life motherfuckers. You can't. You cannot have these type of serious discussions
with one of these baby mama tears because it's a fucking waste of time. Now, the only time it was not a waste of time, if you're trying to prove your point that you can't talk to these type of modern black women. So if you want to look at it from that aspect, then yeah, it was worth watching. But if you want to talk about what's going on with our society, the community, and the difference between this and that, it's a waste of your time. It's definitely a waste. This clown was cutting him off. She was being rude, being disrespectful. And she think cutting somebody off proves her right. She thinks that being disrespectful proves her right. But the unfortunate thing about it that the masses in our community will say, man, she checked that nigga. She checked the sellout coon ass. She did a damn good job. But I say different.
You've been had. You've been took. You've been hoodwinked. Bamboozled. Led astray. Run amok.
Now, I'm gonna be honest with you. I never heard of this woman until I saw the interview. I don't watch the Breakfast Club like that. And unfortunately, I won't be able to show y'all the video because I know they're gonna flag. They did it numerous times, but we're gonna play the audio. That's one thing they can't do. They can't flag the audio. We're gonna play the audio, and I'm gonna let you know what I'm talking about on why you cannot have serious discussions with these Ku Klux Keishas. You cannot. But what I will do, let me go to her Wikipedia and see who is she, because I swear I don't know who she is. Now, let's go. Let me see if she got a Wikipedia. I don't see a Wikipedia. She's not in the Wikipedia. But I see she got a website. I see she be on Fox News. We're gonna let y'all see this right quick. And the thing about it is, of course, you got, Charlamagne the God, Simp Enforcer, and his partner, another Simp Enforcer. You know what I'm saying? It seems to me, now in the interview, they were saying that they don't care for Republicans or Democrats, but at the same time, y'all voted for Joe Biden. You can't make this shit up. You just can't make this shit up. We're going to talk about this. I want y'all to see who this person is for those that probably don't know who she is. Her name is, I don't know if this is her real name or if this is a name she used as an alias. Her name is Teslin. Different name, never heard of it. It's Teslin. Let me just make this bigger. Her name is Teslin Figaro or Figaro. Now, this is her, and they say she's a founder of an award-winning Teslin Figaro Communications Group. She's a certified Florida Supreme Court certified civil circuit and appellate conflict resolution mediator and trainer, provides communication solutions, political strategy, crisis management, and customized training for America's most influential political, social, and cultural leaders. That sounds good. That sounds great. But did she sound like that when she was in an interview having a discussion on political, social type of issues when she was talking to Larry Elder? Hell no. Now, that right there for she's certified, she's a mediator, she's a Supreme Court certified civil circuit and appellate. She's a mediator. She's supposed to be a trainer that provides communication solutions. She's a political strategist. She does crisis management, but when she was interviewing that man, she was all in the fucking crisis. You can't make this shit up. She customized training for America's most influential political, social, and cultural leaders. I beg to differ.
What's wrong with y'all niggas? What's wrong with you?
I beg to differ because she wasn't acting like none of that is stating in her about page. It don't say all that nice paragraph and what she doing, all that didn't sound like that interview that she had with Larry Elder. See, I want y'all to understand that a baby mama Tez have degrees. A baby mama Tez have a profession. A baby mama Tez even got 6 figures. But a baby mama terrorist is a baby mama terrorist. I want y'all to understand this. See, the problem is, and I realize this, see, you are a sellout coon, a self-hater, if you say, I vote Republican. See, I always thought a sellout was a mindset. You know, I thought it was a mindset. I didn't think it was just because you have a certain political background versus the other. And this is why I want y'all to listen to the audio and see what I'm talking about. Now, do I agree with everything that Larry Elder says? No. But majority of it, I do. And I always told y'all, when it comes to the Black community, we have to fix home first. We have to fix home first. If y'all talking about this white supremacy shit, fine. But before you go down yonder trying to fight the boss, you got to fight the right hands. And the right hands of white supremacy is these Ku Klux Keishas that's living in our community. But see, when you do that, then they say you hate your mama black, you broke as fuck, you broke to say so, you're a coon, you're a sellout, you're everything under the sun when you go against them. Because speaking the truth means AKA go against them. They don't like the truth. They can't handle the truth. And y'all know how this show go. Truth is what it is. So we're going to definitely talk about this. And like I said, I would never understand why people put their emotions in discussions like this. I would never understand it. You got these dudes out here who was raised by these baby mama terrorists who chose single motherism, do the same thing. Not just these Ku Klux Keishas. But then when you say that shit, they say, who hurt you? Oh, you just hate your own kind. Oh, you one of them. All that shit. They would never take accountability for a goddamn thing. So we're going to definitely talk about this. We finna talk about this. And there's going to be some things that, you know, some people might say, hey, I disagree. And that's fine. But one thing about I can say about Larry is we got a common goal, which is fix the community for those that want to be helped, because most of these motherfuckers don't want to be helped. They don't want to be helped. Not at all. They don't. We're going to talk about this. Again, I don't know nothing about this woman. I saw that shit. Saw her for the first time. I guess she's new host on that. I don't know. Like I said, I don't watch. I don't watch the Breakfast Club like that. And she allegedly be on Fox News. Don't care. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. But from what that paragraph said, didn't sound like that in that goddamn meeting. Now, let me ask y'all a question. I want to make sure y'all can hear the audio. Let me know if y'all can hear the audio. Press 1 or say thumbs up or whatever, because I'm doing it from my laptop versus being on my computer.
Wake that ass up in the morning. The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV Charlemagne the Guy.
Did y'all hear that? Y'all hear? Okay, I just want to make sure. Now, Sergeant Slaughter says Larry Elder does not want to fix our community. Why do you say that? I'm just wondering why you say that. You have a right to your opinion. You have a right to your opinion, and maybe he does, maybe he don't. But I want to know, if you saw an interview, was he lying about fatherlessness is one of the main factors of our youth being destroyed? That's all I want to know. Maybe he's not for the community. But if he ain't for the community, he sure sounds good. You know what I'm saying? So I want to know. Yeah, it might be choppy. It is what it is. No, he wasn't. Okay, you say no, he wasn't. All right, we're going to talk about that then. We're going to talk about that. Like I said, everybody ain't going to like dude.
You know, some people will say, you know, he's Uncle Tom, a sellout, whatever, and that's fine. But if Uncle Tom, Coon, whatever you want to call it, is speaking the truth is what it is. I don't care who it come from. If it's the truth, I can't sit back and say, well, you lying because you're a coon. If it's the truth, then it's the truth. So we're gonna talk about this because they come in the door with bullshit. So let's get this thing started.
Y'all, the Breakfast Club. We have Tesman Figueroa with us, and we got a special guest in the building. 2024 Republican presidential candidate Larry Elder. Welcome, brother.
Thank you so much for having me. It is an honor.
How you feeling?
I feel good.
He does more than that, though. I mean, he was a radio host.
Radio host for 40 years.
Author, TV
author,
author.
New York
host.
Times bestselling list. Got a star in the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Corner of Hollywood and Vine, Southeast corner, just saying.
Okay.
I know you got a star in the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Yeah, about a handful of radio guys do, and I'm one of them.
Yeah, I think it's you, Elvis Duran,
And
Howard
Martinez.
Stern,
Yeah.
Big Boy. Oh, Angie
A
Martinez.
guy named Arthur Godfrey.
Okay.
So let's jump right into it. Why are you running for president?
Well, I'm running as an America First mega guy, and we have an America First mega guy running, obviously. So the question is, what do you bring to the table?
You said MAGA.
Mega.
Okay.
And the answer is, I bring a lot of issues to the table that I feel our side is not talking enough about, if at all. For example, the number one social problem in America, by far, is the epidemic not of COVID, but of fatherlessness. 70% of Black kids today enter the world without a father in the home, married to the mother, up from 25% back in 1965. Now 25% of white kids enter the world today without a father in the home, married to the mother. And the stats are clear. Even Barack Obama once cited them. If you're raised without a dad, you're 5 times more likely to be poor and commit crime, 9 times more likely to drop out of school, and 20 times more likely to end up in jail. What's happened? In the mid-60s, with I think the best of intentions, a Democrat named Lyndon Johnson launched what we call the War on Poverty. And since then, we have incentivized women to marry the government and incentivized men to abandon their financial and moral responsibility. You know, when I tell...
Now, I'm not gonna lie to you. Now, the last part he said, I disagree. Everything he said all the way to that last part. And I'm gonna let y'all hear that last part again on what I disagree with.
And of white kids enter the world today without a father in the home, married to the mother. And the stats are clear. Even Barack Obama once cited them. If you're raised without a dad, you're 5 times more likely to be poor and commit crime, 9 times more likely to drop out of school, and 20 times more likely to end up in jail. What's happened? In the mid-60s, with I think the best of intentions, a Democrat named Lyndon Johnson launched what he called the War on Poverty. And since then, we have incentivized women to marry the government and incentivized men to abandon their financial and moral responsibility.
That's why I disagree. He says that gave men the opportunity to basically abandon financial responsibility. That's a lie. See, I want you to understand, when it comes to the Black community, when it comes to these mothers out here, these Ku Klux Keishas, yes, they made an executive decision to kick the Black man out the household. They made an executive decision to choose government daddy as the father figure to the child versus the actual father. If y'all don't believe me, you watch the movie, Claudine, and you can see how it really was when it comes to these Black Ku Klux Keishas who decides that government daddy should be the new husband versus the father. And here's another thing. You can't run away from your financial responsibility. Why is that, guys? Because child support will be on your ass. There's no way around that unless you go to another country. You blow your brains out. Once they know that you're the father of that child, even if they're getting government daddy's assistance, what happens? Child support will be coming at your head, and they're going to get their money back by any means. Most fathers, Black fathers, and we don't talk about Black father because he's talking about Black race. Black fathers are the most involved fathers. The problem is in our community, these Ku Klux Keishas don't want the father to be involved. See, it ain't because men abandon their family, men choose to opt out for government daddy's handouts. It's these baby mama terrorists that did. So that right there, I disagree, and it's a lie.
You've been had. You've been took. You've been hoodwinked. Bamboozled. Led astray. Run amok.
I understand, though. Yes,
Larry Elder is a politician. And you already know when it comes to a politician, you can only go so far to believe them, trust them, and depend on them. Republican, Democrat, they all one and the same. But the only reason why I side more Republicans now because Democrats been fucking over the black man and woman for the last 70 fucking years, and not longer. You know what I'm saying? But he's wrong about that. It didn't give him a chance for me to opt out and run away and everything else. That's not true. These baby mama tears made a choice to have the father as a non-involved father, or chose fatherlessness over traditional households. See, he was all good till he said that last part. That shit is false. That shit is false. So let's continue. Like I told you, I don't agree with everything he's saying, but he's not lying about a lot of the shit he's saying. Would I vote for him as president? No, I'd rather have Trump. So, but I'd rather have Larry Elder than have punk ass Joe Biden. So if I had to choose between him and Joe Biden, then hell yeah, Joe Biden, get the fuck out of here. So let's continue. Yeah, they chose getting with a dude off Amazon and eBay versus having the husband in the household. Let's continue.
You know, when I say this to people, the pushback I get is, well, there are lots of things that are going on, systemic racism, poverty. Here's the problem. If you look at a young black male aged 10 to 43, that's young to me because I'm 71 years old. A young black man in that demo is 13 times more likely to be murdered than a young white man in the same demo. Young black man, real young, 19 and under, the number one cause of preventable death is homicide, almost always at the hands of another young black male. Same demo for whites, the number one cause of preventable death is unintentional deaths. That includes drug overdoses, automobile accidents, drownings. It's not until they get to number 4 that death is the cause. In America, 60% of the shootings, the robberies, and the homicides are committed by black people, often against other black people. Of the homicides in this country, half of them are black victims, almost all killed by other blacks. How do you explain that if it isn't for the absence of fathers?
I can explain that. One reason is, yes, most of it's fatherlessness. But another reason is these baby mama terrorists raise robbers. Baby mama terrorists raises sawed-off gangsters. These baby mama terrorists raise pedophiles. These baby mama terrorists raise abusers. These baby mama terrorists write the blueprint for how that child is going to be when they get grown. Because they either want to make them a son husband or they want to make them a future sin enforcer. We just talked about this yesterday, where the mother was assisting her son husband to kill his baby mama, set it up and lured her and turned around and actually told him where he was going to be, and then turned around and went to the damn memorial to pretend like she gave a fuck and let the balloons go in the air, holding the grandbaby. You can't make this shit up. Most of the brothers out here who out here robbing, killing, stealing came from fatherless homes, or did not have a father in their life. And they was raised by their baby mama, Terry's mama, and they created the motherfuckers to be who they are today. That's why. So, like I said, that's most. Because, of course, somebody's going to sit back and say, that's not true. I know some good single mothers that raise their kids to be upstanding citizens. You're right. But most of them are pieces of shit. They chose single motherism. They chose government daddy and child support versus having a father in the family, father in the picture, marriage, and everything else. So that is the reason. One of the main factors. Let's continue to see what else he got to say.
Fair to say black people are just genetically inclined to commit more crime? I doubt it. And the go-to reaction often is poverty and systemic racism. Here's the problem. 1940, when there was blatant racism, this is before Brown versus Board of Education, before the Civil Rights Act of 64, KKK was still alive and well, 87% of blacks lived under the poverty line. Now it's about 14%. You can't blame it on poverty. You can't blame it on racism. It is the breakdown of the nuclear intact family, and neither side is talking about it. The left doesn't talk about it because they caused it with the welfare state, and our side does not talk about it because if you're white, You'll be accused of dissing single moms who are heroically raising these kids, or you'll be accused of being a racist, or if you're black, you'll be accused, as I was by the LA Times, of being the black face of white supremacy. Nobody's talking about that. I am.
What are the reasons, if your statistics are right, what are the reasons that you think fathers aren't in the home?
As I said, it's because in the mid-'60s, Lyndon Johnson launched what he called the War on Poverty. In Charlemagne, literally, they sent social workers door to door in the inner city. I remember this, advising women of the availability of welfare provided there was no man in the house. It created an economic incentive for women to marry the government. Same thing with whites. In 1965, 8% of whites entered the world without a father in the home married to the mother. Now it's about 25%, also up threefold. Look at census data, 1910, 1920, 1930, in places like Milwaukee, Chicago, Philadelphia, a young black kid was slightly more likely to be brought into a world with a father in the home married to the mother than a young white kid. We have incentivized this kind of bad behavior, and it's had a disproportionately bad effect on the black community.
Let me ask you a question. What do white people do wrong, Larry?
What do you mean, what do white people do? I'm not worried about white people. I'm worried about what's going on with us.
If there's systemic racism in this country, which it is.
No, I don't say there is. You say there is. I don't believe that.
Oh, you don't believe this?
No, there used to be, obviously. Tell me what you think the number one systemic example of systemic racism is in America.
Oh man, there's so many.
Just give me the most important one you think.
At the top of mind, I'll probably maybe mass incarceration. Maybe.
Really? During the Great Depression, when 50% of black adults were unemployed, you didn't have this kind of mass incarceration. It's a breakdown of the family.
I'm not going to. I agree with the family part. I'm a black man who is a father to his children. I'm a happily married black man to a black woman, so I'm never going to argue that part. But I just feel like everything is black, but you black is wrong. Black people do this and black people do that. And when I ask you what white people do wrong, you said you're not worried about white people at all.
I'm talking about.
See, and that's the problem I have when it comes to Charlemagne.
You fucking income fucking poop.
Now, if he's talking about black people in a black community because he's black and he cares about, from what he's saying, he cares about black families and black traditions, black unity and all this stuff, why would he be talking about the white man? Why would he be worrying about the white man? Again, until you fix your fucking home, you shouldn't be worrying about what's going on over there. But this dude is talking about well, why you don't talk about the white man? Why you don't talk about the white folks? In other words, that's like these baby mama Teds that run around and say, white women do it too. White women do it too. When you talk about some Ku Klux Keisha that's twerking and the buying shit and putting on social media, they will sit back and say, white women do it too. And because white women do it too, that's supposed to justify their hoism. You can't make this shit up. Now, I told y'all this a long time ago. When it comes to family court, when it comes to government daddy, it has no colors because the color is green. That $51 billion business that they use on fathers and kids' pain and suffering and fucked up futures. Yes, white man been going through it way before the black man was going through it. Them the niggas when it comes to family court and child support. They pay the most money. They also more on child support. They commit the most suicides based off child support and alienation. So we already know the history where it comes from. We talk about this all the time. But when it comes to us as black men, it's worse on us because we already lowered the totem pole. It destroyed our community to the max. The white community is still afloat compared to us. So why would I be worried about, from Larry Elder's perspective, why would I be worried about what's going on over there when I need to worry about what's going on here? Now, in my opinion, he ain't gonna be president. He's doing this shit to try to split votes. He want to put it out there, and I'm glad he is. Do we really care about the community? I don't know, but he's still saying some real shit. So where's the lie? This clown want to turn around talking about well, you talking about black people, but white folks do it too. But this is about black people. So why would I be talking about what Jim is doing over there and what's going on with Jim over there when I need to talk about what's going on over here? That's why I say anything to basically justify our fuckery. So let's continue, because you ain't heard
the bullshit from the this political figure that she helps to make them, rise up and get their votes to baby mama Terry. Let's continue.
The damage, disproportionate damage going on in the Black community. For example, look at these smash and grabs that are taking place in Los Angeles, where I live. It's a suburb called Glendale, where at a mall recently, a mob of 30 to 40 people, they had masks on, but one guy got popped. He was black. I think most of those who were doing this were black. And in recent years and times, there have been a number of these in places like Chicago, places like New York. If I were involved in something like that, Charlemagne, I grew up with a dad, just as you're raising your own children. I would have been more afraid of my father than I would about the cops catching me. These kids are afraid of neither. They don't have a father in the home. Cops are demoralized. They're pulling back. Their manpower is short. And as a result, you tell a bad guy you're less likely to be caught, convicted, incarcerated, crime goes up. They may be criminals, but they're not stupid.
And I agree with him with that, because I fear my father more than I fear the police. I was raised with my mother and my father. And I already know I've seen a lot of brothers that I went to school with that was raised without their father. It's a huge difference. When I was raised with my father, I was scared that I was gonna get an ass whooping for being disrespectful or bad grades in school, getting suspended for being silly and all that stuff. But when you ain't raised by your father, you most likely is gonna have a mom that's gonna make excuses. That's gonna be a pushover. Not all. You got some mothers and grandmothers that beat the fuck out of you. But I'm talking about majority of them. They try to be friends. They try to be homies and make them son husbands and daughter wives and shit like that. Remember the video I showed y'all with a mother whose son was a 0.3 or 0.03 grade point average, had to go back to freshman year, and he was supposed to be a senior? Who did she blame? She didn't blame herself. She blamed the fucking school. She wasn't checking his grades. She didn't go up to school when they called her, none of that shit. She basically cried and blamed it on the school system. Basically wanted to make it like it was racist. Like I said, these Ku Klux Keishas are the main reason why our boys and our girls are destroyed in the Black community. Now, I know people gonna say, nah, I ain't like that. Whatever you say, fam, we talk about this every day, all day. We see it on social media. It's a big difference with a father around versus a father that's not. We've seen the stats, we talk about it on the regular, but I know somebody in here is gonna say that's not true, because I was raised by a single mother, and look at me. I got a degree, I got money, I never went to jail. That's just you. Let's talk about the masses. And I feel because I came from a two-parent household, I do not have a F on my report card. A F on a report card means a felony. I've never been arrested. The most I ever had was traffic violations or a parking ticket. Now, is there some things I should have went to jail for? Yep, never got caught up. But what I'm telling you, it's a big difference when you raise with a father in the house, a real father, versus a father that's not there. That's all. Let's continue this.
When you say, what do white people do? I mean, this is a country that has struggled mightily to get over its historic racism. There was a civil war. There was a big civil rights movement. This is the only majority white country that's ever elected a black president, let alone re-elected a black president. The three biggest cities in America are New York, Chicago, LA. They all have black mayors, even though no city has a majority of black population. The president of Harvard is a black female. Martin Luther King in 1966, Charlemagne, gave an interview to the BBC. This is 2 years after the Civil Rights Act of 64 got passed. And he said, I'm amazed how many positive changes there have been in America in the last 2 years. Why, if things keep going like this, we could have a black president in about 40 years' time. Do the math. Right on cue, Barack Obama, elected 2008. He didn't say there'll be a black female president of Harvard, and there has been. He didn't say there are going to be black CEOs of Fortune 500 companies, and there have been several. He didn't say the percentage of the House would equal the percentage of black people in the population, and it does. He didn't say the three largest cities would have black mayors, and they do. He didn't say the largest and most prestigious organization of doctors, the American Medical Association, would have 2 black presidents, and there have been. He didn't say the most prestigious organization of lawyers, the American Bar Association, would have 2 black presidents, and they have. He said president, meaning at that point, I can feel that I've reached the mountaintop, which is the speech he gave right before he got assassinated the day before. And now we act as if Barack Obama never even got elected. And we're still talking about systemic racism. It's not fair, it's wrong, and you're discouraging black people from working hard.
And here's the thing about that. Barack Obama is a black man because his father was African, his father was black, right? But I have to say this. Yeah, from that standpoint, he was a black person that became president. But he wasn't a black American president. As far as I'm concerned, we ain't have no black president. Unless we have a black American president, then we ain't have no black president. Some people will agree. And here's another thing. What did Barack Obama do for black folks? What did Barack Obama do for the black community? What did he do? He did everything for everybody else and ain't do shit for the black community. He saved banks. He saved GM. What else? He also looked out for the alphabet community. The alphabet community is more powerful than ever because of Barack Obama. He also looked out for the untouchables. He did everything for everybody else and ain't do shit for the black community. And you got dummies that come out and say, well, he came out with the Obamacare. Let me tell you my response to the Obamacare.
You fucking income fucking poop.
The Obamacare is for the nation. But when you ask that question and think about what did he do for black people, he ain't do a motherfucking thing. You can say whatever you want to say, he ain't do shit. Now don't get it twisted. Should he just do something for the black community? No, he's the president. He got to do for everybody. But in my opinion, he did for everybody else and ain't did shit for us. But we voted for him twice. Most of us, not a lot. My dumb ass voted for him twice. I voted for him the first time because I said, okay, I want a black president here. Let's see if there's going to be some differences, some changes, stuff like that. And then I said, okay, he didn't do too much this time. But this is going to be his last 4 years. Maybe he's going to go all out then because now he can't get voted back in. So he's going to bust them dope moves. He ain't do a goddamn thing. But I tell you what, I'll never forget that he said black men need to be better fathers. Barack Obama said black men need to be better fathers. When black men are the most involved fathers, when black men are alienated fathers, when black men are victims of reproductive coercion, when black men are struggling trying to pay this child support that this baby mama Tess put them on because they're not in a relationship no more. Because they got divorced and shit like that. Because her mama said so. Because she chose government daddy over family tradition. You can't make this shit up. So for all y'all to say is that Barack Obama is the best president that we ever had, the only thing I could say is,
what's wrong with y'all niggas? What's wrong with you?
That's a motherfucking lie. Shout out to Cutthroat Notch for the $1.99. He says, he also looked out for the illegals. I forgot all about that. He also looked out for the illegals that don't belong here, just like Joe Biden and the rest of these demo rats that continue to do that to this day. You can't make this shit. Again, Barack Obama looked out for everybody else except us. So now what I do disagree about Larry, when he said there's no systematic racism. It's some systematic racism going on. It's some systematic racism going on. Now, the problem with us, we tend to put race in everything when a lot of this shit is not about race. A lot of this shit is about class. A lot of this shit is about money, income. What do you have? A lot of it is class. But I can't sit back and say that there's no systematic racism because I see it. So have I been through it? No, but I have seen it. So I ain't gonna say it's no systematic racism. It all went away. He said it was there, but it's gone. I disagree with that. Now, some people here gonna say, no, ain't no such thing as systematic racism. And I understand that everybody is not gonna agree with everything I say, but that's okay. But we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about it. Let's continue what this gentleman had to say.
1996.
Here we go.
Mr. Elder, quick question.
Here we go.
Let's just remove.
Here we go. See, this what I'm talking about. Now, he was finna finish this conversation, and here comes some baby mama Terrence come swooping down to do what she do best. Fuck up the goddamn discussion.
This what I was waiting on. How she just swoop on in. I'm gonna show that part. I gotta show y'all this part. Now y'all know I cannot play it all, but I want to show that part when she just swooped on in to start fucking up the shit. And this is why I say you cannot have no baby mama terrorist, no Ku Klux Keisha, feminist motherfucker in the round table, because she will always fuck shit up for everybody and think she's doing something. Let me show y'all. I gotta show y'all this, and I gotta cut it back off because they will flag it. But just check this out.
He didn't say the largest and most prestigious organization of doctors, the American Medical Association, would have 2 black presidents, and there have been. He didn't say the most prestigious organization of lawyers, the American Bar Association, would have 2 black presidents, and they have. He said president, meaning at that point, I can feel that I've reached the mountaintop, which is the speech he gave right before he got assassinated the day before. And now we act as if Barack Obama never even got elected. And we're still talking about systemic racism. It's not fair. It's wrong. And you're discouraging black people from working hard. 1996.
Mr. Elder, quick question. Let's just.
Hey, look at the look on his face when he heard her ghetto ass interrupt him and try to have a so-called conversation. You know, they educated. I want y'all to see that look he had. He knew. He knew that it was finna be some fuck shit.
What's wrong with y'all niggas? What's wrong with you?
He knew it was gonna be some
shit.
He knew. Just take a look at his face. Take a look at his face. I'm gonna pause that shit. And then I gotta cut this off because I don't want to get flagged. Everybody up in here, hit the like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. Donate to the channel, man. Just look at his face. He look like.
He didn't say the largest and most prestigious organization of doctors, the American Medical Association, would have 2 black presidents. He didn't say the most prestigious organization of lawyers, the American Bar Association, would have 2 black presidents, and they have. He said president, meaning at that point, I can feel that I've reached the mountaintop, which is the speech he gave right before he got assassinated the day before. And now we act as if Barack Obama never even got elected. And we're still talking about systemic racism. It's not fair. It's wrong. And you're discouraging black people from working hard. 1996.
Mr. Elder, quick.
Look at the look on his face. He knew. I'm trying to tell y'all, don't tell me that these Ku Klux Keisha is not the problem of our society, not the problem of the community. I want you to understand that these type of motherfuckers will fuck up any motherfucking thing. Look at the man's face. Look at his face. Her voice, he knew what was finna happen. He knew it wasn't gonna be no intellectual conversation. He knew it was going to be some bullshit. He knew that this roundtable discussion is over. He knew it's going to be some shit. This is why I say you can't have these type of motherfuckers on your platform trying to have some type of real discussion and real solutions, because they don't want no solutions. All they want to do is get attention that they built that nigga and they checked that nigga. They demasculated that nigga. He ain't shit. I showed him, but you still a broke ass single motherism picking, or you at the wall and ain't got nobody want to be with you at all. You cannot make this shit. This dude was like, I'm like, shh. He knew he done fucked up. He knew it. He knew it.
Question. Let's
Look
just
at
go the word racism, since that seems to be a word that triggers, a conversation down the water hole. Let's just focus.
And this is right here. I told y'all these motherfuckers right here. If y'all can say what y'all want, this is one of the reasons why the community is what it is today. I'm sorry. You can get mad. You can talk shit. Like I say, I love the good black women. I love the real black women. I love the black women that's about truth. I love black women that's about accountability. I love black women that don't like that don't like bullshit,
regardless if it's a man saying it or a woman saying it. They call out everybody, not just certain type of genders and certain type of people. See, I love the ones who recognize the truth and it will not necessarily, like it, but that if it's the truth, they accept it. You see what I'm saying? I love y'all, but these baby mama terrorists, fuck them. Fuck them. I want you to understand that he knew what type of conversation it was finna be. Once he started talking and come with that bullshit, that dude was like, oh, hell, fuck, no. Here we go. And like I said, you're going to have people hitting up to my man, she checked that nigga. She checked that nigga. So let me back up just a teensy bit, because that right there should have been a meme. They should make a meme with this, with the look on his face when her motherfucking ass started talking and cutting him off. She already was ready to so-called bust them dope moves when she interrupted him from talking.
He didn't say the largest and most prestigious organization of doctors. The
Shout out to the Cows gang. Hit that like button.
Black presidents. He didn't say the most prestigious organization of lawyers. The American Bar Association would have two black presidents, and they have. He said president, meaning at that point.
Let me fast forward a little bit. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
He didn't say the largest and most prestigious organization of doctors. The American Medical Association would have two black presidents, and there have been. He didn't say the most prestigious organization of lawyers. The American Bar Association would have two black presidents, and they have. He said president, meaning at that point, I can feel that I've reached the mountaintop, which is the speech he gave right before he got assassinated the day before. And now we act as if Barack Obama never even got elected. And we're still talking about systemic racism. It's not fair. It's wrong. And you're discouraging black people from working hard. 1990.
Mr. Elder, quick question. Let's just remove the word racism, since that seems to be a word that triggers, a conversation down the water hole. Let's just focus on the word system.
And see, she already basically saying, basically trying to check him, demasculate him already. When she says that, let's not use the word racism, because I see that's going to basically trigger you. You know what I'm saying? You can't tell me they don't come with that smart ass, indirect disrespect bullshit. See, these the ones that run around talking about I'm strong and independent. These are the ones that says I can do better all by my damn self. These are the ones that say I don't need no man. These are the ones who say single mother is the way to go. These are the ones who say, well, I don't got no man because can't no man handle me because I'm a strong black woman. And them the main ones that either childless and lonely and at the wall, or they chose single motherism and they still hit the wall. You cannot make this shit up. Either way, they at that wall. But let's continue what she's talking about. She already talking that shit. Like, well, let's move away from racism because that triggers him.
You mentioned that the system was the one that discouraged. And again, we have no problem with agreeing that the family, the black family, should certainly have some room for some improvement. But let's just focus on system.
Room for improvement?
System. Well, we're not going to go down that water. We're not going to go down that water. Let's get to the question. So the question, you said that encouraged black women to be single mothers, correct?
I said the welfare state, yes.
The welfare, the system. So who's in charge of the system? Who was in charge of the system?
Well, it was Democrats that passed it.
And who were Democrats? Were they black or white at that time?
Well, at the time, majority of black people were Democrats, as the majority of black people
are
Democrats now.
Not the voters. I'm talking about the system. Remember, the main idea is the word system. Who was in charge of the system at the time? The Democrats at the time. The system. I'm just going to Charlamagne's point about white or black. Was it white Democrats in charge of the system or black Democrats in charge of the system?
Well, if you're prepared to say that Lyndon Johnson did this viciously with an intent to destroy the black family, I disagree. He did it with the best of intentions. And if you look at the New York Times, which is left wing, the Washington Post, which is left wing, they cheered all of this.
Right, and what I'm asking was white people. So I'm going to ask again in case my mic.
Hey, you know what? Let me show y'all right quick. The look, he did that look again. I gotta show y'all this, man. Let me show y'all this look on his face, because he know that he's not gonna have a real conversation. I want you to see this part. He did it again. He did it again. Look at this.
Well, at the time, majority of black people were Democrats, as the majority of black people
No,
are Democrats
not
now.
the voters. I'm talking about the system. Remember, the main idea is the word system. Who was in charge of the system at the time? The Democrats at the time, the system. I'm just going to Charlamagne's point about white or black. Was it white Democrats in charge of the system or black Democrats in charge of the system?
Well, if you're prepared to say that Lyndon Johnson did this viciously with an intent to destroy the black family, I disagree. He did it with the best of intentions. And if you look at the New York Times, which is left wing, the Washington Post, which is left wing, they cheered all of this.
Right, and what I'm asking.
There you go, that look. Hey man, I'll tell you, he already knows what he dealing with.
And you blow it for a lousy nigga convict.
He knows what he's dealing with. He didn't want no parts of her. He was hoping she didn't say shit. He was hoping she was quiet because he wanted to have a real productive conversation. But you can't have a real productive conversation when you have a baby mama Tess around. When you have one of these feminist fist raising talking about I'm the man motherfuckers around and I built that nigga, you can't have a conversation. I just had to show y'all that. He knows. He knows. And regardless of what he say, whether he's telling the truth or not, he loses from that nigga logic. He loses. I'm right because I'm running off my emotions, because I'm talking over him, I'm cutting him off, I'm emasculating him. That's why they say they wrong, they won, they right. I'm just saying. Let's continue.
And was it white people? So I'm going to ask again in case my mic's not coming through clearly.
Smart
was
ass.
it white people in charge of the system or black people in charge of that system that helped break down the black family? It's a simple yes, just a simple question, white or black?
Well, you didn't have to go on welfare unless you voluntarily chose to go on welfare.
And that's the thing I want y'all to understand. And I say this all the time. No one put a gun to a black woman's head and said, bitch, you gonna be on welfare. You gonna be on welfare. I'm gonna blow your brains out. What I want y'all to understand, that these black women made an executive decision to get on welfare. When you say stuff like this, they sit back and say, who hurt you? Your mama black man ain't shit. It was a motherfucking choice to get on Bummy Daddy's handouts. See, people don't want to talk about that. And that's why I say they choose single motherism. They choose single motherism. A baby mama Terrence choose single motherism. So, in my opinion, when she asked who run the system, the white man, right? White folks. Okay, you right. Now, of course, Larry he don't want to answer that. But as white man runs the system. Government daddy runs the system. It's a machine, but white man got the control, right? You're right. But did they force the black woman to get on welfare? No. Did the same white supremacists, government daddy, did they force the black woman to kick the man out of the household for child support and government daddy's handouts? No. Did white supremacists, government daddy, force the black woman to call false allegations by calling the police to set that man up for failure? Hell no. So again, okay, white supremacy wrote the blueprint. They got the joystick, but you made an executive decision to side with government daddy, white supremacy, whatever you want to call it, the white man. You made that executive decision to go over there and do his bidding. Let me let Denzel speak on behalf of Malcolm X.
You've been had. You've been took.
You've
been hoodwinked, bamboozled, led astray, run amok.
You can talk all that bullshit about this is systematic, which you got a point. The white man caused this, created this, but you made an executive decision to use his tools to get yours. Shout out to Otobo for the 499. He said, this is the black American woman for you. Man, get your passport and never marry them. I didn't ask for this. PST, Pastor David Mann. Unfortunately, I keep forgetting
to put that soundbite, I didn't ask for this on here. I apologize. But what I will do, I will let my man, Pastor David Manning, speak his piece.
What's wrong with y'all niggas? What's wrong with you?
I'm sorry, October. I keep forgetting. I got you, though. See, so you can talk that shit all you want. You telling me, y'all, let's think about this. On some real shit. Now, again, we ain't talking about the white women because they talking about the black community. Because, you know, the white Al Karen did the same shit, choosing child support over family unit and you using that to destroy father and son, father and daughter relationship. We already know that. We talking about in the community. They made an executive decision. Here's an example like people always say. They said that the government brought guns or the police and put guns in the neighborhood, leave them in the bushes, leave them by the garbage can, right? Yeah, they put down the bait, but it was us that made the executive decision to pick that motherfucking gun up versus walking on past that shit. They chose to take that gun and take it with them and do whatever they're going to do with it. So even if you want to say, well, they put that shit there, but you didn't have to make that executive decision to grab that gun. You just cannot make this shit up. Accountability is a motherfucker's kryptonite. It's a motherfucker's kryptonite. So yeah, let's continue.
The inducement was put there by Democrats, by the left.
Okay.
Well, most black people were Democrats, and they voted.
Of course, she's cutting them off, ain't letting them finish talking. She's talking about white Democrats, but at the same time, black women vote Democratic way more than black men. Am I lying, or am I speaking the truth? Now she's trying to talk this white Democrat this and white Dixiecrat that, but black women vote over 70% Democrat, even if they don't get nothing out of it, even if it don't benefit them, they still vote Democrat. They don't have to get nothing no more. To the point where the Democrats don't even have to offer them anything. They just tickle their chins, make it sound good, and that's it. But at the same time, she's talking about the white Democrat. What the fuck's the difference? Yeah, them motherfuckers in the black community, these Ku Klux Keishas, sold out the black community and continue to do it to this day. I'm just saying. You saying white Democrat, but y'all say vote for Joe Biden, who passed the crime bill and all this, the Incarceration Act and all this shit, but yet you trying to make him look bad. He won't say that white men run the system. But y'all continue to do the white man's bidding or the white supremacist bidding or government daddy's bidding. But you ain't gonna talk about that. That's what I say. Now, I'm a dumb nigga out Cottage Grove, but she just another stupid motherfucker with some goddamn degrees and some notoriety and make some good money. And that's supposed to mean she's strong and independent and she proved right. Get the fuck out of here. Let's continue.
For these white people.
Not voters. I said who's in charge of the system.
Well, who puts them in charge?
Was Lyndon Johnson white or black?
Who puts them in
Maybe
charge?
that'll help.
Fine. Lyndon Johnson was white.
Thank you.
Okay. But
now let me ask you a question. Now she said, was Lyndon Johnson black or white? He said it. He was white. And she said, okay, thank you. Like she proved her point. I'm gonna ask y'all a question for those who are thinkers. What point did she prove? What point did she really? I'm serious. I'm talking about some real shit. What point did she prove? Okay, she proved that white supremacy. I mean, not white supremacy. She proved that systematic is ran by the white man. But what she didn't answer was who made the choice to deal with this systematic system. She jumped and did the Mario Brothers over that shit. When he said that, yeah, but who created the system? Who run the system? Again, you don't have to do that bidding because it's a choice. Now, I said she got notoriety because you know how many Ku Klux Keishas and fake ass black feminists will come out and ride for her just for the shit she talking? That's what I mean by notoriety, not by us. We don't give a fuck about her. We know she full of shit. We know she talking off the side of her mouth. We talking about the masses of our society that will side with her and say she did her thing. She checked that nigga. She destroyed that nigga. She demasculated that nigga. He a Uncle Tom anyway. But the reality is all she did was show how much of a fool she is. And that paragraph we wrote, that don't sound nothing like what's in that goddamn About Me page. You can't make this shit up.
What's wrong with y'all niggas? What's wrong with you?
Shout out to the lowly one for the $5 Nation. He said if Johnson was black, she would have an even bigger problem with him. Let's just keep it 100. I agree with you, my brother. I agree with you to the fullest. If Lyndon Johnson was black, she wouldn't say shit. She wouldn't say a goddamn thing. She'll say he was trying to help the system. I mean, he was trying to help the black women because black men didn't want to be fathers in the first place. Fuck out of here. Shout out to you. Shout out to you. Shout out to you. Like I said, man, she actually thought she checked him because he said, okay, he was a white man. Now, in my opinion, I'm not going to lie to you. In my opinion, I think Lyndon B. Johnson put out that Welfare Act to destroy the black community. That's just my opinion. I believe he did it to destroy the black community. Yeah, you got more white people on government welfare than black folks because there's way more white folks than there's black people. But at a higher rate, when it comes to the rate, we fucked up. But in my opinion, I think he did do it for that purpose. Now, Larry Elder says he don't think so. I think so. But some people might say, I don't think so. That's just my opinion. Let's continue.
If your argument is that the reason he did it is because of racism, then I disagree. He did it because of...
That's not my argument. I just asked you a simple question. Was he white or black? Charlemagne?
And you know, Mr. Elder, you said...
And you see what I'm talking about? I just asked you, was he black or white? Charlemagne, that's smart ass shit. You can't have no real discussion with these type of motherfuckers. You cannot. Charlemagne, she really thinks she did something. Like, yeah, Charlemagne, I don't want to talk to him more. I proved my point. I ain't proved a goddamn thing but how stupid, ignorant, low class of a person you are that shouldn't be at that round table. I'm just saying. Matter of fact, I'm gonna let y'all show that part on how she looked because she really thought she did something. That's what I say. I'll show you the little key shit because I don't want to get flagged. And they probably flag it anyway, but at least y'all heard the motherfucker if they do. She really thought she did something. Let me go to that part when she thought she did something. That's what I say. You can't have these type of motherfuckers at no damn round table, interview, some type of solution. I'm serious. You can't. Because it'll never go the way it should. It'll never be an end game. So let me let y'all check this out right quick.
Well, at the time, majority of black people were Democrats, as majority of black people are Democrats now.
Not the voters. I'm talking about the system. Remember, the main idea is the word system. Who was in charge of the system at the time? The Democrats at the time. The system. I'm just going to Charlemagne's point about white or black. Was it white Democrats in charge of the system or black Democrats in charge of the system?
Well, if you're prepared to say that Lyndon Johnson did this viciously with an intent to destroy the black family, I disagree. He did it with the best of intentions. And if you look at the New York Times, which is left wing, the Washington Post, which is left wing, they cheered all of this.
Right, and what I'm asking was, it white people, so I'm going to ask again in case my mic's not coming through clearly, was it white people in charge of the system or black people in charge of that system that helped break down the black family? It's a simple yes, just a simple question, white or black?
Well, you didn't have to go on welfare unless you voluntarily chose to go on welfare. The inducement was put there by Democrats, by the left.
Correct? Okay. Democrats,
most black people were Democrats, and they voted for these white people.
Not voters. I said, who's in charge of the system?
Well, who puts them in charge?
Was Lyndon Johnson white or black?
Who puts them in
Maybe
charge?
that'll help.
Fine. Lyndon Johnson was white. Okay. But if your argument is that the reason he did it is because of racism, then I disagree. He did it because of...
That's not my argument. I just asked you a simple question. Was he white or black? Charlemagne?
She thought that's what I'm saying. She really thought she said something. She really thought she did something. She really thought she did something. Shout out to Reverend X.
You got me now. You got me now. You got me now. You figured me out. You fucking income fucking poop. You figured me out. You got me red-handed. You got me red-handed.
Yeah, she really thought she figured him out. She really thought she did something. She really thought all you showed was the white man created the system. He wrote the blueprint, and black women took the bait.
black women made a choice to take that bait. They chose single motherism over family tradition for a free handout. I don't give a fuck what the fuck you think. I don't give a fuck what the fuck you say. Truth is what it is. You might don't have to like it, but it is what it is. Let's continue.
You know, Mr. Elder, you said you talked about the smash and grabs, right? And I find that interesting because, you know, when you see the mass shootings that happen, majority of those people are white males. What do you think about that?
Actually, if you look at the percentage of whites in America, which is 60%, percentage of mass shooters is under that. Percentage of people that commit hate crime is under that. Percentage of people who are serial killers is under that. Black people are 13% of the population. We commit a greater percentage compared to that of mass shootings.
We talked about smash and grab. So I was saying, since you're using that as an example, I'm saying, well, what about, you know, the mass shooters that are usually white males?
One more time, they are usually white males because 60% of the country is white. However, they underrepresent in terms of the number of mass shootings. About 50% or so of the mass shootings in this country are committed by white people, even though white people are 60% of the population. They underrepresent. We overrepresent when it comes to hate crime, when it comes to mass shootings, when it comes to serial killings, when it comes to robberies, when it comes to virtually every category of violent crime. We overrepresent.
So what do white people do wrong? I'm gonna keep asking you that.
It seems to me, rather than deal with what's going on, the pathology that's going on in the inner city, you want me to talk about how bad white people are, which I don't think is a particularly productive thing to do.
Well, I think
now again, I agree. I agree with I agree from what his standpoint. What he basically saying is, I'm talking about the community. I ain't talking about them. But of course, Shine to God is saying that white people do it too. Again, that baby mama Ted's logic. Now, one thing I disagree with what he says, he said black people do more hate crimes. That's a motherfucking lie. That's a motherfucking lie. Only type of hate crime, if you want to use that standpoint as far as black people doing hate crimes, is against each other. That, if you want to call that a hate crime, then that is a self-hating ass crime. You robbing your brother, you robbing your sister, you assassinating your brothers and sisters, you robbing from your brothers and sisters, you setting them up for failure against your brothers and sisters. That's a hate crime within itself. Self-hating. That is a hate crime. But if you talking about they run around just beating on white folks and Mexicans and everybody else, you're a motherfucking lie. I definitely disagree with that. They're not the number one when it comes to hate crimes. That's not true. Now, he's right when it comes to white man doing the most mass shooting. That's a fact. They do more mass shooting than anybody, right? Now, if you want to compare that to as a higher rate of crimes, then yeah, we got a huge problem when it comes to high rate. We the higher rate of every motherfucking thing under the sun. So he's right about that part. But to say that black people have more or cause more hate crime, that's a goddamn lie.
You've been had.
Bullshit.
You've been took. You've been hoodwinked, bamboozled, led astray, run amok.
But at the same time, cutting him off and cutting in like you think you're doing something, you ain't doing nothing but proving a point that you can't be talked to. You can't be reasoned with. You can't have a discussion. Now, that's one thing you is definitely showing, because again, this is what happens when you are a reactor and not a thinker. Even if you sit there and talk to somebody you disagree with or somebody you really don't like, but you're having a real discussion, you don't do shit like that because it make you like a bigger fool than what the fuck he is. I'm just saying. But let's continue.
I'm talking as a cause and effect, but you know, if we can't talk about the cause, which I believe is systemic racism and white supremacy, the FBI said.
Well, I just told you, if it's systemic racism, please explain to me how it was when America really had systemic racism in 1940. 87% of blacks lived under the poverty line. Again, this is during Jim Crow era. My father is from Athens, Georgia, grew up in Jim Crow. My mom is from Huntsville, Alabama, grew up in Jim Crow. 87% of blacks live below the poverty line. This is before Brown versus Board of Education. You did not find these kind of black on black crime.
But they still were living below the poverty line, though, sir.
I'm sorry?
You're forgetting the fact that they were still living below the poverty line. You're picking and choosing, saying this was good, but this was bad.
Okay.
The bottom line, they end between the poverty line. But let's move forward.
Can I just
see what I'm talking about? Now, she said what she had to say. Now she want to change the subject. Did y'all hear that? She responded, but then now she want to change the subject. See, that's the shit I'm talking about. Listen, even if you don't like this dude, you say he a bootlick Sambo, he ain't really about the black community, he's a sellout, whatever. You brought him on the show to have an interview. You brought him on the show to get his views. And of course, you're gonna respond with yours. At least you can do is let the man respond and listen and respond and listen. That's the way it should go. They won't let the man talk. Now, if you want to prove that he hate his people, then why don't you let him prove that he hate his people? But it seems to me you can't handle the truth. I'm just saying. Let's hear that little part again. How she cut him off, try to change the subject. Again, like she checked that nigga.
Cause and effect, but you know, if we can't talk about the cause, which I believe is systemic racism and white supremacy, the FBI said.
Well, I just told you, if systemic racism, please explain to me how it was when America really had systemic racism in 1940. 87% of blacks lived under the poverty line. Again, this is during Jim Crow era. My father is from Athens, Georgia, grew up in Jim Crow. My mom is from Huntsville, Alabama, grew up in Jim Crow. 87% of blacks live below the poverty line. This is before Brown versus Board of Education. You did not find these kind of black on black crime.
Probably because we had no.
But they still were living below the poverty line, though, sir.
I'm sorry?
You're forgetting the fact that they were still living below the poverty line. You're picking and choosing, saying this was good, but this was bad.
Okay.
The bottom line, they end between the poverty line. But let's move forward.
Well, can I just address that? In 1940, 87% of blacks lived under the poverty line. 1960, that number had fallen to 47%. That's a 40-point drop in 20 years. That's the greatest 20-year period of economic expansion for black people in the history of America. Again, well before Brown versus Board of Education, well before the KKK imploded, well before we had race-based preferences. Why? Because it was rare for a black kid to be raised in a family without a father in the home, a strong belief in Judeo-Christian values, a belief in patriotism, even as America wasn't applying these values to black people, obviously, and a belief in entrepreneurship. All those things are now under assault by organizations like Black Lives Matter. Charlemagne, Black Lives Matter had on their website an attack on the nuclear family. The founders are self-described Marxists, trained Marxists. Marx wanted to dethrone God, was an atheist, and Marx did not believe in capitalism, let alone entrepreneurship. All the things that made black people still survive in virulent racism are now under attack by organizations like Black Lives Matter.
All of those things have always been under attack by white supremacy. You can go back to things like whether it's the Tulsa race massacres. Like every time black people do create these systems that are our systems and we are the entrepreneurs, it seems like white supremacy finds a way to destroy
every time.
Now, before I continue what they're talking about, man, this like I say, man, can't have discussion with niggas. But the thing about it is, I'm shaking my head because they won't let the man talk. Steady cutting him off. And he did check her ass back. He did, you know. But it's unfortunate that no one won't tell her to shut the fuck up. Now, a brother right here by name, my man Philip, shout out to you, brother. He said if a black person hates another black person, it's because they're being controlled by a demonic white supremacist spirit. I agree to a certain point. Because let's be real, guys. Who raised our sons? Who raised our sons that hate another black man? Who raised our daughters to hate another black man? Who raised our children to hate another black man or another black person? I get the history of white supremacy, the blueprint and everything else, but who raised our children to hate other black folks? It's the motherfuckers they raised with. These baby mama Ted's Ku Klux Keishas. And you want to know how? It starts off with hating the motherfucking father. It starts out hating the father. And if that son hate the father, you think he gonna love somebody else on the street? And if he do, it'll be somebody in the street that's gonna do him no good. The daughter's first love is supposed to be the father. But guess what? That baby mama Ted's raised that daughter to hate the father. So if she hate the father, you think she's gonna love some other man to marry, have a kid with, have a traditional family? She think she gonna be able to nurture her son to love, teach, and nurture? It ain't gonna happen because she's filled with hate from the hateful motherfucker that raised her. How many of y'all hear stories where they say I was raised by my mother, grandmother, aunties, and all of them, or most of them, didn't have no man around, daddy wasn't involved, single motherism, welfare, link card, Section 8, and everything else. You even got the ones that got degrees, make six figures, and they don't even have a man or the father be around. Because, again, she hates that black man. She make the child hate the black man to the point where if I don't get along with my father, I don't fuck my father, I don't love my father, what makes you think I'm going to love you? That's why you got men nowadays saying, hey, man, if you going to get with somebody, don't give nobody a single mother. Because most of the reason is that mother spewed hate in her and she got hate. It ain't going to work out. So, yes, again, white supremacy, I agree, it is the blueprint. But at the same time, it's 2023. White supremacy ain't raising our daughters and sons. These baby mama terrorists are. And again, they made the choice to spew that demonic white supremacy in their hearts and minds. So, like I said, they made a choice. And that hate comes from home. I'm just saying, most times. Let's continue.
Look, the Tulsa massacre, within about 5 years, that whole area was rebuilt. It was not even called the Black Wall Street until after it was rebuilt. It was rebuilt, by the way, by black people without one dime of government money. Now, it was right.
I'm just
not anymore. Obviously, there was something called Jim Crow.
That was a system that destroyed Black Wall Street. It's the same system right now that's not even wanting to pay those same living descendants, position on reparations, but those same living descendants of Black Wall Street.
Okay.
And then you go on to say that the system, the quote unquote system, is also trying to destroy President Trump. So I'm just so confused on, do you believe that the system can destroy or not? You pick and choose, sir, and that's what's so confusing to me. You just said it wasn't racism. Now it is racism. When it was time to build it back, there was no racism.
I said it wasn't systemic racism. Let's talk about.
But what are you just hung up on the word system?
Can I just make this point, Charlamagne, please?
And shout out to him. You notice he said, "Can I make this statement, Charlamagne, please?" He didn't say, "Teslin, can I make this statement?" He talked to the man that was there, because he already know you can't talk to these type of motherfuckers. I'm just saying. I'm gonna let y'all see that. Because certain things y'all need to see. He said, he's like, Charlamagne, can I speak my piece? Because she ain't trying to let me talk now. You full of shit too. You close, but you ain't doing as much as this feminist talking motherfucker, strong and independent. Let's check this out. You just can't make shit up.
1800s. They had riots against Chinese in LA, in San Francisco. There were laws that prevented Chinese Americans from participating in the laundry business.
Wait a minute, did I go back on? Let me make
those same living descendants, because I know your position on reparations, but those same living descendants of Black Wall Street.
Okay.
And then you go on to say that the system, the quote unquote system, is also trying to destroy President Trump. So I'm just so confused on, do you believe that the system can destroy or not? You pick and choose, sir, and that's what's so confusing to me. You just said it wasn't racism. Now it is racism.
I said it wasn't racism. Let's talk about. Can I just make this point, Charlamagne, please? Let's take Chinese Americans. Chinese Americans were the first ethnic group to be excluded.
Shout out to Larry Elder for cutting her ass off and knowing her and not falling for the so-called bully tactics. Shout out to him. You gotta give credit where credit is due. Gotta give credit where credit is due. He was like, Charlamagne, I ain't entertaining you. Let's continue.
With an immigration act in the late 1800s. They had riots against Chinese in LA, in San Francisco, from participating in the laundry business. I'm in California. California, of course, rounded up Japanese Americans during World War II. There were laws that prevented Japanese Americans from owning farmland. The average Japanese American household has a higher per capita income than the average white household. The average Chinese American household has a higher per capita income than the average white household. How does that happen? It happens because of a strong belief in family. It is rare for a Chinese American or a Japanese American kid to have a child outside of wedlock, and a strong belief in education and a strong belief in entrepreneurship. These are the kinds of qualities that make people successful.
You can't blame everything on having a fatherless family, right? Because
I didn't say blaming everything.
I know, but that's what you're saying. You're saying a strong community. But
no, you said that's what I just said. I didn't say that.
You talk about the Asian community. Asian community, it's easy for them to get loans for entrepreneurships. It's easy for them to get loans for houses. You look at our community.
Okay.
If you really want to talk about our community, right? You look at the schools in our community. Some of our schools are the worst, right? Would you agree with that? Yes or no?
Absolutely. Which is why one of the reasons I'm running for president is for school choice.
Also, would you say that it's in our community it's systemic? It's also in our communities heavy food deserts. There's nothing but fast food places that are just killing and destroying that. Would you say that's true?
Boy,
you mentioned that's true. I'm just asking a question.
Okay, you said a number of things. I just addressed one of them about loans. In 1965, Barack Obama, who was in private practice, joined a bunch of other lawyers to file a class action lawsuit against Citicorp, which is headquartered here in New York. 186 black people were applying for loans for mortgages and didn't get them. And they accused Citicorp of engaging in racism. Citicorp said, no, it's not racism. You have poor credit scores, and we want to make sure we get our money back. Obama joined a bunch of other lawyers, and they sued Citicorp in a class action lawsuit. And Citicorp said, okay, to hell with it. And if all up, we called it a few years later, almost all of them lost, several of them filed for bankruptcy. One of them even said, when you don't qualify for a loan, maybe we shouldn't get a loan. Well, duh. It wasn't true that black people were not getting loans. Plus, there are all sorts of black-owned community banks around the country, and it turns out the turn-down rate when you apply for a loan at a black community bank was even higher because they had less capital and they can afford to loan money to risky people. It is just not the case that the reason for the plight of the black community is because people were not lending money to them. It's just not true.
That's not true. But hold on 1 second, Charlamagne.
What's not true?
Bringing back facts of 1965, right? Let's talk 2023, right?
I said 1995.
1995. We'll talk 2023, right? My son will be successful in real estate and successful in buying a house. You know why?
Because of you. Because of you.
Owns a house, right? But my father,
because of you and the drive, because of you and the drive you put into it.
Not own houses.
Because of you and the drive you put into it.
We're not gonna have a conversation.
See, and this clown right here, DJ Envy, he's a sideline hater. He's a simp enforcer. He's a sucker. You heard what he just said. He said, he raised his son. His son gonna be doing real estate because he had a good school where they teach real estate, and he's in grade school. Now, Larry just said that you're the reason, and he's trying to downplay it like that's not the reason. And
you fucking income fucking poop.
I want you to hear that again. And then he tried to say, "Oh, you don't want to let me talk." Let's watch that again.
Almost all of them lost their homes. Several of them filed for bankruptcy. When you don't qualify, maybe we shouldn't get a loan. Well, it was getting loans. Plus, there are all sorts of black-owned community banks around the country, and it turns out the turn-down rate when you apply for a loan at a black community bank was even higher because they had less capital and they couldn't afford to loan money to risky people. It is just not the case that the reason for the plight of the black community is because people were not lending money to them. It's just not true.
That's not true. But hold on 1 second, Charlamagne.
What's not true?
Bringing back facts of 1965, right? Let's talk 2023, right?
I said 1995.
1995. We'll talk 2023, right? My son will be successful in real estate and successful in buying a house. You know why? Because of you. Because of you. Owns a house, right? But my father.
And he just said it because of you. Because of you. And he is the reason. The father is the reason. That's what I'm saying. But he trying to cut that shit off like it just happened that way. And then he say 1965 when he just stated 1995. Now I don't know all that about Obama tried to do a lawsuit saying they was being racist, and the corporation was saying, "Nah, your credit was bad, and most likely you're gonna pay the money back." And guess what happened? Unfortunately, they gave him the loan, and guess what? They didn't pay the money back. They couldn't afford to. But I will say, from what I've seen, these banks have systematic racism within the loan, in, trying to sell a house, within trying to buy a house and get a loan. It's some truth to that. So to say that don't no banks do that, it's a fucking lie. There's so many people that work for these banks that call that shit out, that had called that shit out, even to this day. So I definitely agree with these no good ass banks do have selective loan giving when it comes to depending on who it is. Now I can't say that he's lying about the ones who tried to do the lawsuit, but I know for a fact that some had been cut off with good credit and couldn't even get a fucking loan. So that's bullshit.
You in the drive, because if you in the drive, you put into it.
Not own house.
Because you.
I just ask you a question. I just let you speak. I'll let you talk.
Okay.
We have a conversation. All right. When we talk about it, right, it's harder for our community to get loans, right? And not just because of poor credit scores. It's because of where the areas are. You talked about the Asian community. A lot of the Asian community have their own banks and they're able to process and get their own banks. There's not too many African American branches that are able to give out money. So that's one. Then let's talk about getting grants for schools. They're not even giving grants for schools at the rate that they're giving grants for white people. And let's talk about when they talk about entrepreneurship. They are giving so much money to these white and Asian kids and Asian people doing it, and a 1,000 times less now. We don't see that.
I don't. We was any what you just now said. The turn down rate for a white applicant for a mortgage is higher than the turn down rate for a Japanese or Chinese applicant for a mortgage. Now, are you telling me that banks are discriminating against white and in favor of Asian Americans? It's because their credit score better. They often live when they're making the same amount of money than black people do. If you have poor credit score, you're not going to get a loan. Period. End of statement. Even urban. If you have poor credit score, you're not going to get a loan. End of statement.
Sir,
yes.
let's just, okay. When you were talking about crime, you weren't prepared to talk about disproportion. You talked about how it was more black people that was doing it, and then you talked about how we're the smaller, other population. The same applies also to the loans. It's more white people than it is black people. You seem to pick and choose.
I'm talking about the rate.
Whatever it is, the bottom line is it's more white people than it is black people. And so if more black people are not getting loans disproportionately, it seems you only want to apply the disproportion to the conversation when it benefits your talking
I'm not sure you understood.
Which is why they said.
I'm not sure you understood my point. That's why I mentioned in 1995 when 186 black people who were not getting loans filed a class action lawsuit claiming that they were denied the loan because of racism. Citicorp said, okay, here are your loans. The reason I wasn't giving you the loans is because we're afraid you weren't going to be able to pay them back. Fast forward, they weren't able to pay them back, which proves the Citicorp point.
I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about that.
I know you're not. Because it's inconvenient.
Of course, and he said, of course you ain't going to talk about that. It's inconvenient. It ain't going to prove you right. It's going to prove you wrong. I got to let y'all see the look on his face, man. He can't make this shit up. Hell no, she ain't finna talk about that. Hell no, she's not finna answer that. She's not finna talk about that. I don't know if it's true or not. That's something we have to look up. But she didn't want to talk about. She didn't want to continue with that one. Let's see.
You understood.
Which is why they said.
I'm not sure you understood. I'm not sure you understood my point. That's why I mentioned in 1995 when 186 black people who were not getting loans filed a class action lawsuit claiming that they were denied the loan because of racism. Citicorp said, okay, here are your loans. The reason I wasn't giving you the loans is because we're afraid you weren't going to be able to pay them back.
I'm not talking about
Fast forward, they weren't able to pay them back, which proves the
I'm not
Citicorp
talking
point.
about that. I'm not talking about
I know you're not.
Because
inconvenient.
I'm talking about your response to him.
Like he said, and I agree. You ain't gonna talk about that. It's inconvenient. Let's continue.
When you said more white people get approved for loans.
Since you like numbers, Washington Post said black Americans have the highest denial rates for purchase and refinancing loans, according to Home Mortgage Disclosures Act.
Because of their credit score.
And all credit scores are the same. 15% of Hispanic loan applicants were denied, compared with about 11% of white and 10% of Asian applicants with the same credit scores. And that's Washington Post, since you love numbers so much, and I know you do love numbers. That's coming from the Washington Post. That's 2023, not 1995.
I can show you a study that says the opposite.
Let me ask you a question.
Now, shout out to the one. Make sure I'm saying it right. The one and only. Okay. No, I disagree, Mr. Palm. There's no systematic racism like that that's holding black folks. Have you have good credit? Good credit Indeed, trying to get a loan, you will get a loan. Black folks don't be telling the truth about. Hey, that's why I said
I call, what I mean by systematic, what I mean is some banks are biased. And I'm gonna tell you why. I experienced that myself years ago. Credit score 750. This was back in the early 2000s. The amount of money I had in my bank, matter of fact, it wasn't Chase then, it was Bank One. That's how you know how long it's been. The money I had in my bank, I wanted to borrow from the bank. Them motherfuckers denied me. A black dude told me, he said, I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. He said, I'm gonna be honest with you. He said, they not gonna give it to you. I said, even though I got a 750 credit score? He said, no. He said, white folks usually get it. They say they don't really try to give black people no loans. So I'm only going off my personal when it came to that. And I went to another bank, Bank One, and tried to do it. And basically, they told me the same bullshit. So, in my opinion, they have bias when it comes to getting loans. Now, I agree with you. A lot of these motherfuckers lying about having credit, having money, having a man, and having all this extravagant shit. I agree with you, my brother. I agree with you fully. There's no excuse to say, well, racism is the reason why I'm not working. Racism is the reason why I don't have a job. That's bullshit. Because I see a lot of help wanting to sign around here. But you got motherfuckers who are broke that have the nerve to be uppity and tell you where they not gonna work at. But then get mad if the Mexican come from the other side of the border and take that job. Now you want to say they hurting the black community because they taking our jobs. You didn't even want the motherfucker. Now all of a sudden you want it because they got it now. So I agree with you. I agree with you. That's no excuse to use this quote unquote systematic racism as a victimhood to not do nothing. I agree with you. I agree with you. A lot of these people do have bad credit and they're not going to put that out there. They're not even going to try to fix their credit. I agree with you. But I do say that some of these banks have some type of bias based off race. It might be that individual that worked for that bank is like, man, I ain't get that nigga that goddamn loan. But I'll give a white dude or a Chinese dude who don't really have the money, credit score okay, I'm going to give him a chance. But him, hell no. And how many of you brothers went to some type of bank to get a loan and a black woman tell you, nah, I ain't giving it to you, nigga. It ain't even got to be a white dude. A black woman will tell you, hell no. Nah, you don't deserve that shit. You was like my baby daddy. Sometimes beyond. Shit. Gun say he got kicked out for that. Let's continue.
Donald Trump, Rudy Giuliani, and I'm pretty sure everybody who just called a Rico with him in Georgia, they all had fathers. They still ended up in jail. How did that happen?
See, and that's what I'm talking about right here. Charlamagne the Gun. See, this is what kills me about these stupid ass niggas. No one here saying that if you come from a two-parent household, you won't go to jail, you won't do a crime, you won't rob, you won't steal, you won't kill, you won't sell drugs, you won't be on drugs, you won't go to jail, you won't be poor. What we're saying is you have a better benefit, most likely at a higher number in a two-parent household versus a single mother household. That's it. Don't mean that because you come from a two-parent household, you guaranteed to have a good life. Why do y'all motherfuckers tend to use that? Well, Donald Trump came from a two-parent household, and George Washington came from a two-parent household, and Richard Dawson came from a two-parent household, and they all went to jail. So what do you got to say about that? The only thing I got to say about that is this.
What's wrong with y'all niggas? What's wrong with you?
And also,
you fucking income fucking poop.
And yes, right. Freedom said Donald Trump became president. Like, what the point? What is your point? No one ever said that you come from a two-parent household, you guaranteed nothing. You come from a single mother household and be rich, successful and everything. But we talking about, is it the majority? Is it the majority of two-parent households is a success? Or is it the majority of single mothers is a success? Let's keep it real, man. Stop the cap, man. Let's continue. You ought to see the dumbass look on his face.
Nobody said.
Matter of fact, I'm gonna show y'all that part. I want you to see, because he Charlamagne know how to make them looks like he's doing something. Let me let y'all check this out.
15% of Hispanic loan applicants were denied, compared with about 11% of white and 10% of Asian applicants with same credit scores. And that's Washington Post, since you love numbers so much, and I know you do love numbers. That's coming from the Washington Post. That's 2023, not 1995.
I can show you a study that says the opposite.
Let me ask you a question. Donald Trump, Rudy Giuliani, and I'm pretty sure everybody who just caught a RICO with him in Georgia, they all had fathers. They still ended up in jail. How did that happen?
Nobody said if you have a father, you won't go to jail. Nobody said if you didn't have a father, you were going to jail. My father never.
But guess what you did say, Elder? I'm sorry, respectfully.
May I answer his question?
Guess what you did say?
May I answer his question?
Let him finish his statement.
Notice he like, can I finish asking my question? Can I finish asking my question? Till Charlamagne, with that shitty dumbass look, had to say, let him answer the question. That's why I say you can't have these type motherfuckers at your meetings and round tables and discussions when it comes to some seriousness and something about change and what we're going to do about it, because it's never going to work out. Shout out to Jermaine for the $1.99. He said, I know who's at fault for single mother Rism Holmes. Who is it, my brother? It's Jermaine's fault. It's always going to be Jermaine's fault. And unfortunately, I don't have that soundbite on it. I promise y'all, when I get back home and get back on my couch, I'm going to put them 2 sound bites on here. Them the main sound bites that need to be on here. I apologize. But what I will play for you, my brother, let me see. Here's another reason why, or who's at fault.
Why are you trying to jump to a bitch's motherfucking defense?
That's another reason why you got Sibit forces that ain't assist these motherfuckers. Shout out to you, my brother. I appreciate you. Appreciate you to the max. Yeah, let's continue.
Answer his question.
Let him finish his statement.
My father never knew his biological father.
Fuck out of
He
here.
was thrown out of the house when he was 13 years old. 8th grade dropout, Jim Crow South, Athens, Georgia. Fast forward, my dad cleaned toilets, 2 full-time jobs cleaning toilets when I was growing up. Went to night school to get his GED, and then after that, he went to night school to learn how to operate a small restaurant. Age of 47, my dad saves his nickels and dimes from his job, starts a small restaurant near downtown LA. Fast forward, he retires in his 80s. He owned that restaurant. He owned property next door, plus the house that's still in our family. Not too shabby for somebody who did not know his biological father. It's not a death sentence. You still have choices. It's just much, much more difficult to raise a child on your own. Even Tupac Shakur said, I know for a fact, Tupac, excuse me. I know for a fact, had I had a father, I would have been more confident, I would have been more disciplined. End of quote.
Well, how did all those white men end up in jail when they still had fathers? The Trumps and the Giuliani. I'm just asking the question. How did they end up in jail?
Because some people commit crimes.
No, sir. Stop. My apologies.
See what I mean? Stop. I told you, you cannot make this shit up. You cannot make this shit up. Look, let me show you her face, man. I told you, motherfuckers be really thinking they doing something. They really be thinking they're doing something. Yeah, I checked that nigga. I just want y'all to understand this. They really, look at how she look. She really thinks she doing something. Look, just take a look. Look at this. Look at this. She really, look at her face. She really believes that she did something. She really thinks she checked that nigga. She really thinks she did something. You know what? This picture says 1,000 words.
Do like Sexy Leroy and leave the bitch alone. Leave her alone. Leave her alone. See, you gotta leave her alone. If she wanna act like that, just leave the bitch alone. She ain't nothing. You ain't gained nothing, so leave her alone.
Leave motherfuckers alone. Leave them alone. Please, 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 please. Leave these motherfuckers alone. I thought she was doing something. Now, and you know what? You're right, brother. The one and only says, and Mr. Palm, you got to have a history with the bank first before they give you a big loan. A lot of blacks. I agree. I was only asking for $10,000 at the time. It was $10,000 I was borrowing. But I agree with you. You do have to have some type of history with the banks. I agree. And how they give you a loan, the easiest way they'll give you a loan, for what I learned, is a signature loan. Whatever money you got in your account, so you got $5,000 in your account, you want to get a signature loan, you have a better chance getting that. And then you can get a loan without doing all that. I agree with you. So I'm not going to say I disagree. I agree with you. That's exactly what they told me. And I got a better relationship with a bank. It ain't Chase, but I got a better deal at a bank. So you right. But I say it's better if you can go to a credit union, you got a better chance getting loans and refinance and all that shit. I say go, if you can, go to a credit union bank and get better rates and everything. So you right. I agree. Let's watch this part right here. She thought she checked.
I know for a fact, Tupac, excuse me. I know for a fact, had I had a father, I would have been more confident, I would have been more disciplined. End of quote.
Well, how did all those white men end up in jail when they still had fathers? The Trumps and the Giuliani. I'm just asking the question. How did they end up in jail?
Because some people commit crimes.
No, sir. Stop. My apologies for interrupting you earlier. I just couldn't stomach the.
Now, mind you, this on me about how dumb these motherfuckers are. What did she just do, guys? I'm asking y'all, what did she just do? Now, she just apologized for interrupting him earlier. But what did she just do 10 seconds ago? Can somebody answer that for me? She apologized for interrupting him some time ago. But what did she just do? You just cannot make this shit up. What did she just do? Somebody please answer that because I'm stupid. She just apologized for what she did a while ago. But what did she just do just a second ago? Yeah, Trey, she did it again. She just cut him off and then gonna apologize to him for cutting him off some time ago. You cannot, and I tell you, you cannot make this shit up.
You fucking nincomb fucking poop.
That's like me punching a dude in the face. Then I apologize and punch him in the face again. The most educated motherfuckers on the planet. That's why I say, don't take my word for it.
The answer that I knew you were going to say.
Stomach the answer.
Yeah, I couldn't stomach because your actual answer to Trump being what was happening to him with the indictments, you actually said that the system was doing it. You said there was a two-tier system. This is your words.
That's right.
It was a two-tier system. So when it came to Trump, all of a sudden you now believe in this systematic thing that's happening to Trump. But then when
it's not a phrase. If you ask me as Joe Biden and it's been the same way as Hillary Clinton, all these people are white. All these people are white. There's a double standard.
Well, Mr. Elder, you didn't hear my question.
You said that
you didn't hear my question.
You said some people commit crimes. So you do believe that Trump, Giuliani, they committed a crime.
I don't know.
But you just said some people commit crimes.
I said some people committed a crime. I didn't say Donald Trump committed a crime. If you ask me specifically whether I believe Donald Trump committed a crime, I don't.
Specifically about those.
No, that's what I'm saying. He just said some people commit crime, but then he trying to say, oh, so you saying Donald Trump committed a crime? No, he said some people committed crime that come from two-parent households. That's what he was saying, but you're going to switch it from Yeah, forgive me. I don't know why it went out. It went out for a second, but I'm here. Shout out to Supreme 10. How you been, my brother? For the $20 donation. He said Donald Trump got indicted. Anyone can get indicted, including a ham sandwich. Indictments does not equal prison sentence. Yeah, how many of you brothers and sisters been arrested on false allegations? Been lied on by baby mama tears or some Al Karen, somebody. I'm just saying. So yeah, you can be falsely accused and get arrested. Now, if Trump did something, I'm not sure if he did or not. I can't say. So shout out to you, my brother. Good to see you, Yeah, so if you see me go out, don't just leave because I don't know what the fuck going on. You know, they probably like, man, you're doing too much showing the video and showing some shit. You know how that go. That could be another thing. So let's continue.
People and why they ended up in jail, they all got fathers.
Well, Donald Trump's not in jail.
Oh, he got indicted.
Yeah, he got indicted. It's a far cry from being in jail.
Well, why did he get indicted?
Well, he got arrested. Is what
well, he got
He's going to get arrested.
He got indicted, in my opinion, because the DOJ has a double standard. They let Hillary pass, for example, she clearly violated the Espionage Act by having an unsecured server in her basement. She paid for the Steele dossier. She destroyed 30,000 emails that were under subpoena, and she got a wrist slap. And Donald Trump is now being indicted, I think, for the fourth time. So it's unfair.
Right. Like you were telling y'all how corrupt the FBI is for a long time.
And the FBI has been corrupt. There was COINTEL, the FBI, J. Edgar Hoover also wiretapped MLK under Robert Kennedy, a Democrat Attorney General, Malcolm X, lots of things. Right. And I find it interesting how the same people who criticize the FBI historically are now defending the FBI because they're going after Donald Trump.
Oh, we're not defending the FBI.
I didn't say you were. I said some of the same people.
We're just looking and saying, damn, finally.
What's your thoughts with Florida? And you see that they're trying to take our history out of these history books and not trying to teach our history. What's your thoughts?
I find it interesting that the party of slavery, party of Jim Crow, the party of the KKK, the party of the Southern Manifesto, the party of Dred Scott, the party that I said earlier destroyed the nuclear intact family, and the party that is opposing school choice. And now they want to lecture Florida on making sure the proper history of slavery is taught. I don't know anybody who's defending slavery. Anybody. Not Ron DeSantis.
People benefited from slavery.
Actually, you're talking about one line. I'm talking about one line in about 127 pages of the study, and it is a line that was repeated almost verbatim in the associated in the advanced placement African American course that the Senate administration refused to use because all the sexual stuff it's basically the same that was in the advanced placement African American courses, and now because it's in that, all of a sudden the governor is accused of somehow defending slavery. He's not doing anything of the sort.
What did you think about
that? Well, sir, you were actually one that defended slavery. In your comments, you said that, like it or not, slavery was legal in response to reparations. So it's you that was defending slavery, correct?
Defending it and saying that it's illegal are two very different things.
Slavery, unfortunately. That was your response to if reparations should happen. So your response to that was, like or not, slavery was legal, and one would think that was a defense on those who were asking.
Well, you would think it was.
So I'm sorry. Let me let him say that part. Let me let that part. See, this is what I'm saying. You can't have these type of motherfuckers on the panel. You cannot. You know. There's a difference with somebody say it was legal. Back then, from their standpoint and their laws, it was legal. Come on now. But she said, you understand how people can assume that you say that, you know, basically it was right, it was cool. And then he said, before I cut it off, he said, of course, you would think that. Hell yeah. But let y'all see that.
Because all the sexual stuff that was in it. It's basically the same thing that was in the advanced placement African American courses. And now because it's in that, all of a sudden the governor is accused of somehow defending slavery. He's not doing anything of the sort.
What did you think about
that? Well, sir, you were actually one that defended slavery. In your comments, you said that, like it or not, slavery was legal in response to reparations. So it's you that was defending slavery, correct?
Defending it and saying that it's illegal are two very different things. Slavery,
That was your response.
slavery,
Well,
unfortunately.
that was your response. That was
slavery-
your response to if reparations should
Well,
should happen. So your response to that was whether or not slavery was legal, and one would think that that was a defense on those who were asking.
Well, you would think it was a defense,
Yeah,
but it is not a defense. Unfortunately, slavery has been part and parcel of human history from the very beginning. Asians enslaved Asians, whites enslaved whites, blacks enslaved blacks, Native Americans enslaved Native Americans. This is a culture, the Western civilization, that had a revulsion against it. We had a civil war against it. And we ought to applaud ourselves for doing something about this. This is a flawed country. It's moving forward. It's becoming more perfect all the time. Today, if you are born and raised in America, if you finish high school, presumably one you can read, write, and compute at grade level, which is why I support school choice. Don't have a kid before you're 20. Get married first. Get a job. Keep a job. Don't quit it until you get another job. And avoid the criminal justice system. You will not be poor. And if you don't follow that formula, there's a good chance you will be.
The first GOP debate is coming up, and you didn't qualify, and I saw you right.
You didn't say I've not yet not qualified. It's not until August 21.
Oh, okay. Well, I saw you write in the op-ed that the Republican National Committee has rigged the rules of the game by instituting a set of criteria that is so onerous. What is it? Onerous. Onerous and poorly
I mispronounced Tupac, so you mispronounced onerous.
That's right.
So we're even.
You are really fatty, man.
And he said poorly designed that only established and billionaire candidates are guaranteed to be on stage. Explain to us why that system hurts people.
Well, I ran for governor of California. I got 3.5 million votes. It seemed to me that made me credible. The RNC is requiring us to have 1% or 40,000 individual donors. In 2020, the DNC required you to have 1% or a certain number of donors for reasons that I don't quite understand. The RNC is requiring you to have both of them. One of the candidates in this race is a multimillionaire. He's offered a $20 gift certificate if you give $1. Another one is offering a free, air quotes, country western concert if you give $1. Another one is giving you a commission if you are a prospective donor to go out and get other prospective donors. It seems to me that corrupts the whole process. I'm doing it the old-fashioned way, Charlamagne. I'm asking people to support me and go to my website, LarryElder.com, and give me at least $1. If I get $1 from 40,000 individuals, I will be up on that stage in Milwaukee on August 23. When I get up there, game on, hold my beer.
So why is this system, is this system holding you back? Would you say it's a system holding?
I would say it's unfair. It seems to me this early, the voters ought to decide this. I mean, in 2016, there were 17 or 18 Republican candidates. Now there's 13. Somehow, some way, our republic survived, and we could survive with 13 candidates. I don't know why they have all this rule to eliminate certain people at this point. But rather than
those systems can hold you back no matter how hard you work, right?
No, I'm going to say, but rather than whine about it, my goal is to get on as many shows as I can, like yours. Urge people to go to LarryElder.com, give at least $1, even if you want somebody else. Don't you think it's wise for us to talk about the epidemic of fatherlessness, the lie that America remains systemic racism, systemically racist, and the need for school choice? 13 public high schools in Baltimore, 0% the kids can do math at grade level. Are you kidding me? 53 public high schools in Chicago, 0% the kids can do math at grade level. Meanwhile, the Democratic Party is opposed to school choice, while the party elites, whether it's Barack Obama or Gavin Newsom or Joe Biden, have their own kids in private school. It is wrong, and we need to talk about that.
Larry Elder, why would somebody from our community vote for you, or why should they vote for you? Why should a black person vote for you?
Because I'm telling the truth, and the truth oftentimes is unpleasant. It's not pleasant for me to be called the black face of white supremacy, as the LA Times did. It's not pleasant for me to be accused of being anti-black, as Tavis Smiley once called me, because I don't support reparations. By the way, Barack Obama never supported reparations. Nobody called him anti-black.
And yes, I want y'all to understand that Barack Obama, your great leader, your best president in the world, he was against reparations. So, I mean, what's funny is when it comes to the community, they have selective outrage. They will say Barack Obama was the best president. Larry Elder is a sellout. But they both agreed that reparation is a no-go. Shouldn't get reparation. Barack Obama did say it. Look it up. He said it. And he did an interview, a podcast with an actor. I swear to God, I forgot. He said last year that the reason why he didn't try to push reparations because he did not want to offend the young white middle class. You can't make this shit up. That's what he said. He said out his own fucking mouth on why he wasn't gonna look out for reparations.
You've been had. You've been took. You've been hoodwinked, bamboozled, led astray, run amok.
So yeah, Barack Obama is not for reparations, but ain't nobody gonna call them out on that. But they'll call out, anybody else, a Clarence Thomas or, Donald Trump, or even Joe Biden said he's not for reparations. These Democrats are not for reparations. Republicans not for it, Democrats not for it. But y'all talk about a Republican that says it because he's a Klan racist versus a Democrat who you say is for the black people. You just cannot make this shit up. You know what I'm saying? I'm for reparations. Run that check. But I tell you this, I'm not going to sit back and do nothing and wait for handouts. If it come, good. But if it never comes, fuck it. I'm good. That's the mindset I have. Everybody else got some goddamn reparations and a goddamn check and everything else. Why shouldn't we? Shit, we long overdue. So I agree. But of course, you got people that says we don't deserve it. So let's continue.
We need to talk about what's going on. What's going on is the breakdown of the family. And most of the things we complain about downstream, whether it's crime or whether it's bad schools, the genesis is the breakdown of the nuclear intact family, and we don't talk enough about it.
Do you agree that our community is hit harder with a lot of things? It's all
inflicted or because of policies that we have supported. Democrats that we have supported. I wrote a book called, it's coming out in October. It's called As Goes California, My Mission to Rescue the Golden State and Save the Nation. It's about one party rule in California. California has super majorities of Democrats in the Senate and in the House. And as a result, our schools are near the bottom. People are leaving California for the very first time. We have the highest state income tax in the country. The average price of a home in California costs 175% above the national average, all because of these left-wing policies that are hurting the very people, black and brown people living in the inner city, that people on the left claim that they care about.
Do you think slavery was self-inflicted? Or do you think Jim Crow segregation was self-inflicted? Or do you think,
slavery was self-inflicted? Of course, it wasn't self-inflicted, but there are a lot of people have bloody hands in slavery. For example, slavery could not have existed had it not been for African chieftains who were selling black slaves captured in battle or captured through raids and selling them to European and Arab slavers. It could not have existed without that. So everybody has dirty hands here. That's why reparations is such a foolish thing. If you're going to get reparations from the 5% or so of white people that have some sort of generational connection to slavery, and that's all there is, then you need to go back and get money from African countries that were involved in the slave trade and in the Arab slave trade. And by the way, the Arab slave trade was more than the European trade. 90% rate of attrition, often making men and women walk on barefoot across the Sahara, and the men were castrated. Only about 5.
So if they go after the money from the other countries, then would you agree that it would be okay to go after the money from America? Is that your problem with it?
When are you going to stop with this? Everybody has.
No, I just asked the same question.
I'm answering your question. There'll be no end to this because slavery has been part of human history from the very beginning.
Okay, now I've let you talk, sir. I've let you talk, and every time I talk, you begin to talk, and then you say, "Let you finish." So I asked you a very simple question.
And see what I'm talking about? That's because you've been cutting him off over and over and over and over again. Now you're talking about you being respectful, and I'm just asking you a question. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here.
That were involved in the slave trade and in the Arab slave trade. And by the way, the Arab slave trade was even worse than European slave trade. 90% rate of attrition, often making men and women walk on barefoot across the Sahara, and the men were castrated. Only about 5.
So if they go after the money from the other countries, then would you agree that it would be okay to go after the money from America? Is that your problem with it?
When are you going to stop with this? Everybody has.
No, I just asked the simple question.
I'm answering your question. There's no end. There'll be no end to this because slavery has been part of human history from the very beginning.
Okay, now I've let you talk, sir. I've let you talk, and every
You
time
fucking income fucking poop.
Well, I asked you a very simple question. You said, if you're going to go after it in America, go after it in Africa. So we all agree to go after it in Africa. Will you then agree to go after it in America? It's just a simple question. Yes or no?
No, I won't because it's a waste of time. We ought to be spending our time on education.
Next question.
Okay. You told me that I cut you off. Then I try to answer your question. You won't let me finish.
See, this is what I'm saying, man. I told you, having them motherfuckers in this type of discussion or any type of serious discussion is a waste of time. I'm gonna let y'all see this. I'm gonna let y'all see this, man. I'm just saying, you cannot make this shit up, man. You just cannot make this shit up. This nigga. This how you know they think they got you in check. Look at the look on their face when you get into an argument with one of these baby mama terrorists. They love to flicker their eyes and throw their hands and do all this and shit like they doing something. This is a prime example. Thinking she's doing something and ain't doing shit. Now, mind you, I showed y'all the paragraph of what her credit is and her credibility and what she do. This don't seem like the same shit that we just read in the About Me page. I want y'all to see for yourselves.
So I asked you a very simple question. You said, if you're going to go after it in America, go after it in Africa. So we all agree to go after it in Africa. Will you then agree to go after it in America? It's just a simple question. Yes
No,
or no?
no, I won't, because it's a waste of time. We ought to be spending our time on education.
Next question.
Okay, you told me that I cut you off. Then I tried to answer your question. You won't let me finish.
Go ahead.
Thank you. It's a waste of time. We ought to be talking about working hard, investing in ourselves. Right now, as we speak, there are Haitians in Haiti lining up for a lottery to come into this country. Why? Because it is the land of the free and the home of the brave. You can go from nothing to something faster in America than any other country in all of human history. We ought to be talking about that. Let me just, one more point. 1997, Time Magazine and CNN hooked up together to do a poll on what black teenagers and white teenagers felt about racism. And both of them were asked, is racism a major problem in America? Both of them said yes. But then Time and CNN asked this question of the black teenagers. Is racism a big problem, a small problem, or no problem in your own daily life? This is 1997. 89% of them said small problem or no problem in my own daily life. In fact, twice as many blacks said failure to take advantage of available opportunities is a bigger problem than racism. Twice, 1997. Look it up.
See, he finna probably say 1997. That was some years ago. What the fuck they got to do with it? Motherfucker, 97 ain't too far off. You act like he's talking about 1965 or some shit. And I agree with him. I agree. And for my livelihood and my lifestyle, what I got going on, white supremacy is not my problem. It's not racism that's my problem. It's the surroundings, who you raised by. Is where you at, where you live, how you raise, income, and so on, opportunity. And when you're raised by one of these Ku Klux Keishas, there is no opportunities. The only opportunities usually a brother has is the streets or sports or some type of entertainment. And hopefully they can make it through the cracks. But I know motherfucker ain't gonna talk about that. They're gonna say, nah, it's because me don't want to do shit, y'all lazy, low lives, and all that bullshit, even though we make more money than your funky ass. But that's a whole nother story. But of course, Charlamagne gonna say, this is 2023, what about 2023? And again, it's more about your upbringing, opportunities of what you have and what you was raised by. I'm just saying.
2023 though.
2023 though.
You think America's more racist now after the election and re-election of Barack Obama than it was in 1997?
Yes, because of the election of MAGA, Donald Trump, 100%. Yes.
Really?
Absolutely.
Well, how is it, Charlamagne, that Donald Trump got 8% of the black vote in 2016? He got 12% in 2020, 50% increase. He got 20% of the black male vote in 2020. If MAGA is racist, how do you explain that Donald Trump substantially increased the percentage of black vote the Republican Party got?
Sometimes people make.
So why are you running against Trump then, Mr. Elder?
Yes,
I'm not running against him. I'm running against Biden Harris. Any one of the Republican nominees we have would be better than what we have right now. I'm not running against him. I'm running to put forth the issues I just now mentioned that I've been talking about for the last few minutes.
I want to ask you about that. After 4 indictments, 91 criminal charges, don't you think it would behoove the Republican Party to move on from Donald Trump?
Now, let me ask y'all a question. Since he said all these charges, now I'm asking y'all a real question. Wasn't Charlamagne God charged with something? When he charged with something, he didn't do time in jail, nothing like that. But wasn't Charlamagne God charged with something? And if he was, what was he charged with? What I want to know, because from what I'm thinking, he was charged with something. Yes, he was charged with rape. He was charged with rape, right? I'm just trying to make sure that I'm saying the right thing. He was charged with rape, right? And I'm going to say the word rape. He was charged with rape, right? He didn't go to jail. I don't even think he was arrested. He never served time. I'm sorry, I gotta say rape on this. I know we ain't supposed to, but I gotta say rape because this motherfucker, because I'm looking at the screen, y'all can't see him, but this motherfucker right here is talking about Trump being charged. And this nigga got charged with dealing with an underage female. See, this is what I'm saying. You talking about Trump and his crimes or crime, and you got a crime too. All right, I'll say grape. But what I'm saying is, he's talking about Donald Trump and other Republicans and white folks with their crimes, and he got charged with a crime. The nerve. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. And if he wasn't charged, he was accused. So what I'm saying is, how the fuck you gonna talk about Trump being charged or accused when you got accused or charged for something that was demonic, in my opinion? You can't make this shit up.
You've been had. You've been took. You've been hoodwinked, bamboozled, led astray, run amok.
I'm just saying, the nerve of this clown, but okay.
I think that the voters in the primary will make that decision.
What do you think?
I have no problem with I think Donald Trump did an extraordinary job as president, especially for black people. Best economy ever. He did something about the borders. The people that are most hurt because of porous borders, black people living in the inner city, because most of the illegal aliens have little or no education. They end up living in the inner city. They compete against black people with high school or less for jobs. About 1 million fewer black people working than who would otherwise be working if it weren't for illegal alien labor. And illegal alien labor, according to a study done by the Civil Rights Commission, puts downward pressure to the tune of almost $2,000 per year on the salaries of black people living in the inner city. And Donald Trump gave us the most secure border we ever had. He also supported school choice. He also did the First Step Act, which allowed about 5,000 mostly black men with long criminal sentences, nonviolent, to have their sentences reduced an average of 70 months per. He pardoned Jack Johnson, the first black heavyweight champion. Even Barack Obama didn't do that. Yeah, he did an extraordinary job for black people.
I think you're innocent until proven guilty, but I feel like President Biden had 4 indictments, 91 criminal charges. President Obama had 4 indictments, 91 criminal charges. Y'all would be telling them that they need to step aside and they shouldn't be running.
Well, I wouldn't vote for Barack Obama or for Joe Biden in any case, no matter whether he had indictments or no indictments. I don't vote for tax spend regulate liberals.
You're a conservative, right? Obviously.
No question.
What initially made you gravitate towards being a conservative?
I think it was my father. My father was a lifelong Republican, and my father always told my brothers and me the following. Democrats want to give you something for nothing. When you try and get something for nothing, you'll always end up getting nothing for something. And my dad, I told you about his background. He told my brothers and me that hard work wins. You get out of life what you put into it. You cannot control the outcome, Larry, but you are 100% in control of the effort. Before you moan or groan about what somebody did or said to you, go to the nearest mirror, look at it, and ask yourself, what could I have done to change the outcome? And finally, Charlemagne, my dad, told me, my brothers and me this: no matter how hard you work, how good you are, sooner or later, bad stuff is going to happen to you. How you deal with those bad things will tell your mother and me if we raised a man. I wrote a book about my father's life. It's called Dear Father, Dear Son, 2 Lives, 8 Hours. It's about an 8-hour conversation he and I had, where at the beginning of the conversation, I thought my dad was harsh. He spanked us too often. We had a belt in those days from the South, you spank kids. And I thought my dad was way too harsh. And we had an 8-hour conversation. And by the time we ended, my dad got bigger and bigger and bigger, and Larry Elder got smaller and smaller and smaller, and I apologized to him. And it's a book that's changed a lot of people's lives. It's called, as I said, Dear Father, Dear Son, 2 Lives, 8 Hours. The paperback is called A Lot Like Me. Same book, but it's cheaper.
Can you honestly say this is the Republican Party that you grew up on? This modern day GOP?
Yes. The Republican Party pretty much has always stood for low taxes, low regulation, peace through strength, not strength through peace, and strong borders, and still does. And when Donald Trump is gone, and he will be gone, even if he gets reelected, the day after he gets reelected, he's a lame duck, the party will still go on. The principles will still go on. However, I do believe that many people in our party have spent and spent and spent, so that Ronald Reagan, my favorite president, when he entered the Oval Office, Charlemagne, when he left, the government was bigger. It got bigger under George Herbert Walker Bush. It got bigger under W. It got bigger under Donald Trump. And the only way to restrain spending is with an amendment to the Constitution to fix spending to a certain percentage of the GDP, with exception for war and for natural disaster. Otherwise, we're going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. Let me use the word unsustainable. That's the word Barack Obama used to describe the so-called entitlements. Unsustainable was a word that Bill Clinton used to describe them. But nothing happens because if you run claiming you're going to reform Social Security or Medicare, the other side is going to accuse you of not caring about the sick, the poor, the elderly, and you are going to lose elections. That's why government gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So we need a law to restrain spending. Otherwise, it's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And for young people like you, these programs are not going to be there.
Mr. Elder, I know a lot of Black conservatives, and I completely agree about the Black family. I don't think anybody here objects to that.
Don't disagree about that at all.
I think when you talk about ideology and then you mix in parties and then personalities, it gets kind of confusing. And, you know, you mentioned yourself not to moan and groan, you know, that as long as you work hard, all is well. And I think where the conflict is coming in is you did moan and groan about how Republicans treated you. You did moan and groan about Governor Newsom and, you know, asking for a recall. You did not leave that up to the voters. You are moaning and groaning when it comes to Donald Trump and how he's being treated. So it just seems to be a hypocrisy. And I don't know if the message would land a little bit better if there was some fairness across the board on Democrats and Republicans. I'm an independent, by the way, and I think both parties are trash. And I think all of us here, you know, see both sides.
Now, most of these niggas say that both parties are trash, but they call you a sellout for voting for Donald Trump and say you stupid for not voting for Joe Biden. See, that's why I say you can't make this shit up. Now, my thing is, when she says that he was crying and whining, it's the same shit when I say child support is the reason why, is the core reason why this system is what it is today, destroying fathers and destroying nuclear families and tradition. And these baby mama terrorists allows it because they made a choice to use government daddy for family downfalls and tradition downfalls and father-son, father-daughter relationships. And because I call that out, they say, what? You're whining. Shut up and pay. Should have kept your pants zip and all this shit, even though it was planned. So now he say it wasn't fair, it wasn't right. He was not whining and crying, at least from what I'm seeing on here. I don't know about the other shit. But because you call something out, because you say this ain't right, this ain't fair, they say you whining and crying. But when these baby mama terrorists whining about their link card running out because Trump tried to cut it off, or the Republican Party tried to cut that shit off, they not whining and crying. They say systematic racism. They say this is unfair to the Black woman. You can't make this shit up. When you call shit out, that means you're whining and crying. But they whine and cry every day. I want to be able to do abortions when I want to do it. I want to be able to do the chop and add on to the 26 million abortions that's been going on since the 1950s or 60s, whatever the fuck. I want to be able to get free handouts and don't have no penalties behind that. I want to be able to live off government daddy's handout and keep the nuclear family away from me. And I want to use that kid as a check so I get ADHD checks and other checks that I get from this bastard ass that I really didn't want. And they cut their shit off. That ain't whining and crying. That's trying to fight a revolution. The fuck out of here.
That's the part that's just not landing for me. There seems to be an unfairness on both sides with you.
Well, not too surprisingly, I don't agree with your analysis. How is it
Exactly.
I did not leave the recall to the voters? What do you mean by that?
What do you?
You said I didn't leave the recall to the voters.
No. I said you moaned and groaned about it. You said it should be recalled, correct? Correct?
I said Gavin Newsom should have been recalled, yes.
Right, that's moaning and groaning.
Well, actually, it's taking advantage of what's in the California Constitution, which is when a certain percentage of voters sign a petition to recall a politician, there can be a recall vote, and there was one, as there was in 2003, we recalled the governor then, and there was in 2021 when I attempted to recall Gavin Newsom. That's part of our democratic process in California.
Now, and that's the thing, because he said let's do a recall. He went on the articles and the laws in California. I don't know. I don't know that's the story about that. But if that's true, how is that whining and crying or moaning and groaning? I told you shame tactics, and they count that as a win, a power up, you go girl, and everything else. Let's hear what you got to say, because I'm finna end this shit. It's stupid.
Absolutely. We agree with that. I'm going to your statement when you said rather than moan about it a little while ago, you said rather than moan about it, I'm just going to keep doing the hard work. And so I'm just saying that technically is moaning about it because the governor is the same. That's my point, sir.
I don't follow exactly.
And this is what I mean on and I'm gonna let y'all see this. And I'm getting the fuck out of here. I don't need to play no more because this motherfucker is stupid.
You fucking income fucking poop.
He said that we shouldn't moan and groan. He said we shouldn't moan and groan, work, do what he gotta do. And it seems to me he's still doing what he gotta do. But because he called it out, say it's not right, it's not fair, you say he moaned and groaned. Shut your mouth. Let me let y'all see that, man. Let me get the fuck out of here, man. You cannot make this shit up. I'm saying you can't make this shit up. Come on, you see the look on her face. She basically trying to use that aha, I got your ass. And ain't got shit. And ain't got shit. Check this out.
There can be a recall vote. There was one, as there was in 2003. We recalled the governor then. And there was in 2021 when I attempted to recall Gavin Newsom. That's part of our democratic process in California.
Absolutely. We agree with that. I'm going to your statement when you said rather than moan about it. A little while ago, you said rather than moan about it, I'm just going to keep doing the hard work. And so I'm just saying that technically is moaning about it because the governor is the same. That's my point, sir.
I don't follow exactly what you're saying.
It's okay. I didn't expect you to.
Yeah,
but it's
I'm
one moment.
I'm a little slow sometimes.
One moment, yeah, we get it.
Yeah.
One moment you're complaining about the system, and the next minute you're saying the system is fair. The next minute you're saying it's not fair. So that's what I'm saying. There just seems to be a double standard on you and the system, not wanting to be accountable for a system that Black people are not in charge of, by the way. Of not wanting to hold both sides accountable when it comes to the system.
Do I believe Hillary was treated differently and Joe Biden treated differently than Donald Trump is being treated? Yes, I do. Is that an indictment about whether or not America is systemically racist? No, it is not. Those are two totally different things. Yes,
you're trying to merge the two. They're two totally different things.
I agree with you. They're two different things. We're agreeing. We're agreeing. They're two different things. We're agreeing.
No, we're agreeing that two different things. We're not agreeing that there's not systematic racism because we're not in charge of the system, sir. In case you
all right. Can we?
Black people have never been in charge of any system. We're not
actually we have been. Take Baltimore.
No, we've never been in charge.
May I finish?
Tell me, what financial system are Black people in charge of? What healthcare system are Black people in charge of? What government system are Black people in charge of?
I'm ready to tell you.
What prison system are Black people in charge?
I'm ready to tell you.
I'm not talking about mayors. I already know that talking point, sir. I go on Fox News all the time as well. So let's not go there with that.
You fucking income fucking poop.
Have we implemented that we have been in charge of? Name one.
Is this why you don't like talking to Black women, Larry Elder?
Wow. Baltimore.
Then you damn right. That's why and hell yeah, that's why I don't like talk to the motherfuckers. The only reason I talk to them because I don't have no problem let them make themselves look stupid. I don't have a problem with it, but if I was in his lane on some political figure type shit, I wouldn't want to talk to the motherfucker. See, I'm petty. I don't give a fuck. I'd be happy to talk to your dumb ass and let you say all the shit you want to say, and I'm gonna make your ass look stupid in a motherfucker. So I have no problem with it. But see, that right there, and even he had to say, I see, that's why you want to talk to Black women? Hell yeah, that's the reason why. Now, of course, he ain't gonna say that because they're gonna say he's a what they say, misogynist and he hate Black women and all that shit. Look how she looking on her face. Look how she looking. Look how this nigga looking like I got your ass. Got you, bitch. It ain't got a goddamn thing. Retarded motherfucker. You can't make this shit up, man.
Freddie Gray a few years ago.
No. That's mayors. I'm not talking. I said system.
I'm going to tell you about the system if you'll let me to finish my point.
I'm not talking about somebody elected and doing a job, sir. I asked what system did we create? What financial
Okay, let's talk about the system of one of the largest. Thank you. One of the systems of one of the largest cities in America, Baltimore.
Now, finally, Charlamagne said, let him speak his piece. I'm going to let him speak his piece. I'm getting the fuck out of here. If I was Larry, I'd have got up and left. Fuck this shit. But I understand why. I understand.
Freddie Gray died in police custody a few years ago. The mayor was Black. The head of the police department, Black. Number two.
Not in charge of the system.
Person in charge of the police department was Black. All of city council, Democrats, majority Black.
Still not in charge of the system.
Six officers charged. 3 of them were Black. A judge before whom 2 of the officers tried their case found him not guilty was Black.
Still not in charge of the system.
The city public schools was Black. The county superintendent of public schools is Black. The attorney general at the time, Loretta Lynch, is Black, as was the president of the United States, was Black. And yet,
still not in charge of the system. I asked you a simple question, sir.
Well, Wanda Sykes said when Barack Obama got elected, how are you going to complain about the man when you are the man? Now, from the president to the attorney general to the state attorney to the mayor to the head of the police department to the commissions of the schools in the city and in the county to the majority of city council in that city, all of them are black. And you're still saying that we don't run anything?
No. I said who created the system. I didn't say we didn't run anything. I challenged a lot of those black leaders, by the way. I said who, when we talk about the system, what black people have been in charge of any system. I'm not talking about a position. I'm not talking about the mayor. You know.
So you're basically saying that they're black faces that are still in those
correct.
positions, but they're still
Correct. Similar to you, Mr. Elder. You're a black face in a position in the conservative movement. They're just the same. They're just on the other side. I'm talking about.
So then, when Martin Luther King said in 1966, I believe there could be a black president in about 40 years' time, then it really doesn't matter if there's one or isn't. Nothing changes. He was naive.
The system
He was
also
naive
killed him as well. But we know that the FBI and the CIA also killed him. That system. You realize that, correct?
Wow. An individual killed him.
Right. That was also part of Pro Hotel through the system. Correct?
Not correct.
Hotel Pro.
Not correct. He was
so
killed.
The FBI didn't have anything to do with it. The CIA didn't have anything to do with it.
Edgar Hoover was definitely on Martin's ass. Like, come on.
I didn't say he wasn't. Robert Kennedy is the one that approved the wiretaps. But to say that the FBI killed him, I mean, what's your evidence of that?
Oh, no,
that's pretty serious charge.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Pretty serious charge.
Yeah.
Serious charge
Yeah, I
requires
was talking
serious
about the
evidence.
Yeah.
What is your
Mr.
enforcement
LBU.
law proposal?
It is to allow states to set up commissions of retired judges and retired DAs to get rid of these soft on crime, George Soros-backed DAs that are allowing a bunch of bad people on the streets or not charging bad people to the full extent of the law. And the people, by and large, that are hurt by these people are the very black and brown people living in the inner city. There's a Larry Krasner is a George Soros-backed DA in Philadelphia. He's been impeached, but this Philadelphia State Senate wouldn't even take up the case. We've had 2 attempts to repeal a soft crime DA in LA County, and it hasn't gone through yet. We've got a bunch of, in my opinion, this guy, Alvin Bragg, he ran promising to get Donald Trump. And when he got in, he said the evidence wasn't there. And then one of the former DAs writes a book, accuses Bragg of giving Donald Trump a pass. And all of a sudden, he brings counts against Donald Trump. I think it's unfair.
Do you think members of your party are leaning toward fascism?
Define fascism.
Authoritarian.
Define fascism.
I mean, the rejection of democracy, the rule of law, and equal rights under the law in favor of a strong man, Donald Trump, who interprets the popular will.
No, I don't. There was a long article about Barack Obama by one of my mentors. His name is Thomas Sowell. He's an economist. He's black conservative, still alive, around 95 years old. And he wrote a piece in which he said a lot of people call people like Barack Obama socialist. Socialism is government ownership of the means of production. Fascism is when the government allows you to own means of production. The government tells you what to do. And he said, frankly, technically, people like Barack Obama are fascists. That is to say, these are left-wing people telling you how to run your business, telling you what to sell, telling you what you can't sell. For example, in California, we have a governor named Gavin Newsom who recently said by the year 2035, no more sale of new gas-powered cars. How dare you? Most people don't want an EV. They like their own gasoline-powered cars, but now you're telling car dealerships they can't even sell them? What do you call that?
But what about, when you tell women what to do with their bodies?
Well, that is a moral issue. I happen to be pro-life, and I believe that...
You fucking income fucking poop.
That's not telling women what to do with their body. That's expressing my opinion about whether or not it is right or it is wrong. For example, there is a guy right now behind bars in Philadelphia named Dr. Kermit Gosnell. He is an abortion doctor who performed late-term abortions. When I ask people who consider my position to be extreme, I ask them, tell me at what point do you believe pregnancy has gone so far that to terminate the unborn would be homicide? And almost nobody will give you an answer. So in other words, what you're really telling me then is this guy, Dr. Kermit Gosnell, should be set free. He's a political prisoner. He was persecuted unfairly. If you won't tell me when you think at what point pregnancy cannot be terminated unless it's homicide, then to me you're essentially allowing women to kill the unborn, no matter how old that unborn is. And I think that's wrong. The other thing, Charlamagne, real quickly on this issue, it'd be one thing if the pro-life community was not talking the talk and walking the walk. But there are literally thousands of pregnancy centers all over America, whether it's funding for adoption services, funding for housing, funding for education, funding for job training, to let women know they have alternatives. And every state will decide this. The government shouldn't be passing some sort of law one way or the other regarding abortion. Every state's going to decide that. I'm in California, which is a deep blue state. There have been 2 initiatives to restrict abortion. I voted in favor of them. I was overwhelmingly defeated. And when abortion has been put on the ballot in recent years, the people that wanted abortion restrictions have lost. The American people pretty much have said, first-term abortions, they want them to be legal. Late-term abortions, they don't want them to be legal. I happen to disagree with that, but I'm willing to live in a society that has a different point of view than that I have on this issue.
Can you have a real democracy if you're taking away people's power of choice? If you're taking away people's power to choose and not giving them any option.
Well, if you consider it to be a crime, that abortion is a sin, in my opinion, you're not taking people's right to choose. You're making a moral statement about what's right and what's wrong.
There's a lot of sins, though. Sex before marriage is a sin. I'm sure you did some of that.
As for the sins of my past, either the Lord has forgiven me or the statute of limitations has run out. I'm making a joke about that. A lot of people, of course, make mistakes, yes. And I think that people should deal with the consequences of their actions. And if you let people know there are consequences to their actions, it will inform their actions and make them behave more responsibly. Anytime you allow bad behavior to continue, you're going to get more bad behavior, whether that's...
So how does that apply to President Trump then? Because you said that was a 2-tier system that...
Because I don't believe Donald Trump...
You don't think he did anything?
I don't think he did anything wrong. No, I don't. I believe that he complained about the election the same way Hillary did. Hillary, for 4 years, referred to the 2016 elections having been stolen, her word, not mine. She called Donald Trump illegitimate, her word, not mine. Jay Johnson, who's Obama's DHS secretary, testified under oath that not a single vote tally was changed by the Russians. They tried, but they failed to change a single vote tally. 66% of Democrats believe the Russians changed vote tallies to get Donald Trump elected, even though Jay Johnson testified under oath, not a single one changed. That's the damage that people like Hillary and former President Jimmy Carter and Stacey Abrams and Hakeem Jeffries and others have said for years, referring to Donald Trump as illegitimate. A greater percentage of Democrats believe 2016 was stolen than we feel that way about 2020. But yet nobody calls them election deniers and nobody accuses them of undermining our republic. And they're not undermining our republic. They're complaining about an election. You have a right to do so.
And on that note, truth of what it is, when they were saying that Trump won based off the Russian votes and all that shit, ain't nobody said shit. They believed it. They didn't say they was whining. They was crying. They ain't say bullshit, none of that. But now that Trump say he got cheated and all that, everybody want to say that ain't true and all that bullshit. You can't make this shit up. Shout out to my man Luxus Holdings for the $9.99 Cash App, man. I definitely appreciate you, my brother. He says cartel in the building. Shout out to you. I want to give a shout out to Miss Buck Good for the $7 Cash App. She said, Baby Mama Ted syndrome spreading as fast as wildfires. You ain't never lied. Shout out to Miss Buck Good again for the $5 Cash App. She says, Couch Dude. She donated to Aaron's and Rent-A-Center. Appreciate you, my sister. On that note, man, I'm getting the fuck out of Dodge, man. Ain't nothing else to be said. This discussion to me wasn't nothing but shame tactics and disrespect, cutting people off, being rude, and that proves that they won. You know what I'm saying? All I know is you can't have these type of motherfuckers at your round table when it's something serious, whether it's political, whether it's healthcare, anything. You're not gonna get a good outcome. I'm just saying. So everybody up in here, put your boot emojis in here because I'm gonna get the fuck out of here because we gotta boot this low life nigga out of our lives. Shout out to God and DJ Envy. Fuck them. They already booted. But these are the motherfuckers you can't have around in the community. You can't have around this at your job. You can't have around them at no meetings or anything that's productive and anything that has opportunity to grow. I'm just letting you know. Shout out to Larry Elder for speaking his truth. I don't agree with everything he says, but a lot of that shit, especially when it comes to fatherlessness and lack of fathers, these baby mom tears choosing single motherism and choosing to murder our babies and shit like that, and murder them mentally by raising them without a father, I agree to the motherfucking max. So yeah, man, I appreciate y'all to the fullest. I'm Mr. Palmer, and this conversation is definitely over. Fuck her. Peace, man. Yeah.
Hey, look, you ain't paying my motherfucking rent for 9 months. Hell no.
You know what? My bad. I did it wrong. I keep forgetting that hold up. Gotta do this right. I keep forgetting I ain't on my computer, so I can't I gotta do it differently when I put their face on here. Let me get to that right quick. I want to end it with her face being shown. She deserved donkey of the day, donkey of the month, donkey of the year. Let me make sure I do this right. Let me make sure it's done right. Yes. Yep. You can't make this shit up, man. I appreciate y'all tuning in. Sorry it went a little bit longer, but I had to let y'all hear most of this bullshit. Like I said, man, these the motherfuckers you don't want around. So y'all definitely have a good one. Y'all be safe, man. I will be live tomorrow, man. And yeah, she's guilty. Peace out, guys. Cal's gang. Yeah.
Hey, look, you ain't paying my motherfucking rent for 9 months.
No.
Hell no, I don't want no motherfucking sex. I'm Mr. Palmer, bitch. I don't do that sucker shit. Better have my motherfucking money. Fuck ass bitch. What I don't understand, how I can be so strong and be so independent and be a bum. Bitch. You got help from Gummy Daddy, and you get them PPP loans. Yet you haven't paid shit, so you need to get gone. You haven't paid your fucking rent for a whole 9 damn months. Hell no. Got my and nasty from trash and blood. Oh, hell no. Fuck this, get the fuck out. Fuck you being homeless, and at least want it. Enjoy, bitch, you know this. So yeah, get the fuck out of here. Your ass get in the big. Your ass is about to get taboo. Your ass get in the big. Your ass is about to get taboo. Your ass get in the big. Your ass is about to get taboo. Your ass get in the big. Your ass get in the big thing. Your ass is about to get taboo. Your ass is about to get taboo. Your ass get in the big thing. Your ass is about to get taboo.